All right, motherfucker. Are you ready?
No. Are you ready?
No.
Perfect.
Blast from the past.
Yo, Console Crusade podcast. EJ Olsen. Nick Durheim is not with me today, but we have something kind of special we've talked about over and over. Here's the deal. We were going to cover the Nintendo Direct today. So for context here, the Direct was 1 week ago. It is now Wednesday the 20th at 10:46 p.m. Just got back from a trip. And, unfortunately, we did not get a chance to record. And this is what we're doing this week. This is our first episode. We recorded way back in 2016. Unfortunately, at the time, we had our whole setup. We were filming it, the whole 9 yards. Our mics, there was an audio error, didn't work. And as the story famously goes, we recorded the next night. Everything worked flawlessly, except for, us being tired and trying to rehash a conversation we had only, 24 hours prior. Did not work out. We ended up obviously switching directions, doing audio only. But anyway, forgive the audio quality on this. It's not good. This is the on-camera mic, which was, 8 feet from us or whatever, 6 feet from us. And so it sounds like shit. I've tried to kind of, boost it and level it and try to make it listenable. If it's not, it's not. But for those who are interested, this is the podcast origin. This is the first podcast, long lost. Here we go.
Oh, dude, we're doing our first podcast. Official. We're in the same room. We got a fucking camera going.
They know. It's like they're here with us.
No.
It's like they're here with us.
Withless.
Stationary.
Who are these people? There are no people. No one is watching this.
We might be able to twist some arms, get some views.
Make our friends watch us. None of our friends care about retro games. Or games, really.
Well, we're not talking about really retro games. And I guarantee
we will
you...
be.
Well, not really.
Oh, we fucking will be. Look behind you. Look at all these games back here.
Yeah, they're all trash. That's why I put them back badly.
Not the PS4 games. I'm talking about the collection of Super Nintendo NES.
Oh, yeah. Take a look. Those games
y'all see that?
Fucking see.
Fucking insert picture here. Yeah. Don't worry. It'll
come through and post.
We're gonna do our GBA series, but then we're gonna come around and we're gonna do the SNES series. We're gonna do the fucking the Super Nintendo. All right, here's the deal. I still don't brush my teeth, so I'm sorry if you get some bad breath over there.
Whatever, I'm just getting beer breath. Beer.
That's good. So we need to try to not pretend anyone's watching us. We're having a conversation. I know, in our heads, it's already hard for me to be like, we're talking for someone to hear. We're just talking about our favorite games now.
Yeah, you're very... I can tell. I can tell that you can tell.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Do you actually want to do a Super Nintendo series?
Yeah. I have a lot of games I need a good reason to play.
In the same way that we're doing the GBA series?
No, I do not want to play... I didn't even want to do the GBA one.
We'll see.
Okay, here's the deal.
We're tackling the launch, which I would want to do regardless. I would do the SNES launch. That'd be very easy. There's 6 games, maybe.
And none of them are good, except for Super Mario World.
In Mario World.
That's the only one.
Which, how many of the GBA launch titles are you actually super stoked to play and talk about? 4 of them?
I'd have to go back to the list.
Which, to be fair...
Kenobi.
That's not a bad launch, okay?
Considering companies have so long to work on these consoles, when's the last time there was a world-class launch for a video game system?
I don't know. I'm not very well-versed in the last 2 generations, basically, for their launches.
Fucking Gun? Come on. There really aren't...
I don't know what the DS launched with. I don't know what 3DS launched with. I don't know what PS4, PS3...
We could look that up.
I mean, PS4, yeah. The only PS4 launch game I know of is Knack. Only because it's a fucking meme.
Not a good game. North American DS launch games. You want to know this?
How many?
I got a fucking...
Above
1, 2, 3,
10.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9.
Feel the Magic XYXX.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that game, actually.
And Madden NFL 2005.
Funny.
Ping Pals. THQ game. How the mighty have fallen. Ridge Racer DS. The obligatory,
Oh, the obligatory.
You have to have this. Obligatory.
Yes.
Obligatory.
Oh,
Peeking, motherfucker.
you're fine.
I want to get into the fucking mic so bad.
I know you
I
did.
can't turn my game down anymore. Spider-Man 2, the worst version of a really great open world game.
Activision.
Yeah. Sprung. Metroid Prime Hunter's First Hunt.
Oh, yeah, I remember the Hunters one.
What is that? It didn't link to anything. Was that just a demo?
Yes, it was a demo for Metroid Prime Hunters.
That's what I thought. Super Mario 64 DS. Which,
Support.
if I recall, was not well regarded when it came out. People were upset about it. And Tiger
I
Woods.
feel like I don't know. I didn't actually play it. I just know that you could play as different characters. Like you could play as Mario or Luigi or
Toad.
Wario or Toad.
Yeah, that's always what I remember
Which
specifically.
anyway, like I'm just saying, launches are generally not very great.
No.
And
Which is
for
weird.
A system to launch with a Castlevania game, a brand new Castlevania game, that's pretty cool. That's pretty big. I mean, for a system that had 3 of
That's
them
true.
in a 4-year span, you know?
I guess that's a good point. So the GBA is like depressingly enough, like
Also, it didn't outsell the PSP, but it sold like 80 million units, and the DS came out in 2004. So if you think about it, it had 3.5 years where it was the like handheld.
Yeah, and you know what? The only reason that the DS I think did as well initially was because you could still play your Game Boy Advance games, and they were still releasing Game Boy Advance games well into the DS.
Oh yeah, because
lifecycle.
Nintendo was genius with their handhelds. Everyone was like you could play your last year's games on the new console.
So people say that the DS sold X, Y, and Z. It's like a lot of parents probably just bought that thinking this is how they play their Game Boy games.
Yeah.
And it was.
And Game Boy Advance still played Game Boy games.
Like when I got a DS Lite, it was for fucking Pokemon, 3rd gen.
Diamond Pearl,
3rd gen.
Ruby Sapphire.
Ruby Sapphire, Fire Red, Leaf Green. And Mario Kart DS, which is fucking such a great game.
It's one of my favorite Mario Karts.
Alright, so.
Yeah, man. Dude, what is up with this beer?
It's the fucking pizza we ate.
No, dude, it's the fucking boar. I'm getting bored. We're not the only ones who's bored.
Yo, I'm peeking so much, dude. This is really bad. I am shocked at this.
If we would have both had the same mic,
It's never.
then we would have peaked just the same mic. It's because you're drinking, I'm here, so you're fucking...
Am I talking louder than I talk usually?
Well, I'm usually not here while you're recording.
That's true. It's just I'm usually louder because I have headphones on. It's like I'm compensating because I'm not monitoring myself.
No, I talk quieter when I have headphones in.
I talk way louder because I'm trying to hear myself.
I'm talking quieter because I know I'm being loud.
So
I'm correcting.
that's true.
Dude, I'm gonna get sweaty. I can already feel the heat
I can see it. I can see it.
I'm glistening.
wearing this
Am I
fucking
glistening?
stock. Yes,
I
you
know
are.
I'm glistening.
like
Like a hot, sexy woman in a club.
a boner in the night.
Okay, R. Kelly.
What's the song? Wrapped up like a douche, like a boner in the night. You know the fucking song.
Yeah, I do.
But I can't place it right now because I'm,
that's
only 24, not 50.
I just remember
Is it Bon Jovi? No.
who cares? Nobody
Is
cares.
it Journey? I can't remember. I don't know. I'm so bad about old music. Anyway, I'm EJ Olson. This is my esteemed colleague, Sir Nicholas Durheim. Yes, he's been knighted. Sir Nicholas.
By the Queen.
Which queen we don't know. This is the Console Crusade podcast, and I'm going to try not to say this entire time.
Every time he does, I will press the button under the table that gives him a shock to the taint.
I'm glad you said take. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay.
We're on the same level here.
Level.
We've been eating some pizza, we've been drinking some beer, and we're here to just introduce ourselves. We're just here to talk about fucking video games. Occasionally some basketball. You'll fucking drool over there while I talk about how my Blazers are doing.
You'll see my eyes glaze over.
Yeah. I get real tangential from time to time. But that's okay. We're the Console Crusade, which I know what you're thinking, YouTube. And people who aren't watching on YouTube, people like Nick, who hates YouTube with a fiery passion.
It's too much. It's too much for me.
I know you guys are thinking consoles, PC Master, fuck you. You can't see over here, but I got a real nice PC over here. This guy, real nice PC over there. But it doesn't matter, because guess what you can't play on your PC? Nintendo games.
Nah, you You shouldn't.
Okay, not legally, not officially. I can't pop in my Wii U
I'm
disc.
sorry, Miyamoto.
Oh no! Iwata would be so disappointed.
You address the PC Master Race people, and that's they're very vocal people.
This is what they do.
No, I've got a point though.
You got a point.
Oh yeah, I'm coming to a point.
I'm here. I'm listening to your point.
Okay, did you Battlefield 1 just came out 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
I haven't played it. Don't know.
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, recently.
Concurrent playlist or players numbers. PS4 exceeds Xbox One and PC combined.
That's crazy.
So I think that kind of gives you a little bit of insight because it's hard to tell how many people are actually playing on PC like these big like new games.
Yeah.
Have like strong enough computers to be playing these games, and there's like 50 million PS4s in the wild. Maybe like 20, between 20 and 30 Xbox Ones. So that would kind of lead you to believe that there are about that many PCs also.
I mean,
so I think this is a very vocal minority
presumptuous.
that are just like, PCs all the way, brother.
It's always a vocal minority, especially on the internet. You know what they're going to do? These fuckers, and I've been guilty of doing this. Okay? These fuckers, myself included, they're going to get on there and they're going to hashtag console and they're going to search. They're going to find the Console Crusade, and we'll never hear the end of it.
Well, I mean, we could just rename the podcast right now to Peasant Crusade.
I mean, that would be way more accurate, even out of context of video games.
For the poors and the dumbs.
Yeah.
AKA Thing 1, Thing 2 over here.
Hi. I don't know what that was.
That was really fucking dumb.
So we do have a few series planned going forward. The first of which we don't have a name for it yet, but we're going to be playing through the...
Tentatively.
Our plan is, which will inevitably fall through the floor because we're lazy and our ambition has a very short shelf life. We're going to play through each month of releases on the Game Boy Advance.
Which, if you don't know, there's 1,200 Game Boy Advance titles that came out.
30 of them were worth playing.
Between 2001 and I think they stopped making games like 2007. Which is not bad considering the DS came out in 2004. So it definitely tapered down.
All those late releases are going to be just shovelware
all
and
of those releases.
games.
I don't know if you looked at December 2001. A lot of Nickelodeon games.
Are we gonna have to watch all the Game Boy Advance videos as well?
No. Those aren't games.
I got several of them back there. The good ones. Dexter's Lab.
Fairly outrageous. Yeah.
A couple of those. So we have those series planned out, and we've begun work on them. But we wanted to kind of start off, introduce ourselves to the world, these schmoes. Here we are. But the topic being our top 10 favorite games of all time.
Now, I know what you're thinking.
Oh, boy.
I know what everyone's initial thought is. Who gives a fuck?
No one fucking cares.
No one. And I've been trying to tell this motherfucker over here that you can't choose your top 10 based on the quality of the game, but based on your, memories and nostalgia for it.
It's hard.
So he's, trying to oh, well, I like this game, but I know this game's better. It doesn't matter which game's better. It's about which game you like more.
I also don't want to be disingenuous and, misrepresent who I am as a gamer.
Well, everyone knows which game is the best. If they want to look it up, they can go to fucking any review site and see the numbers.
So, that being said, the list was really hard to make.
Oh, God.
Not only because, nostalgia gets stronger the older we get, right? And some of the best games I've ever played, I have played in the last 5 years. 5-6 years. I'm not far enough removed from these games that, shaped who I am as a, I keep saying gamer, but just as someone who consumes media, it was totally shaped by the kind of games I grew up playing. And, what I immersed myself in. So it's some of these games, I have to put this on there because it's so important to me and I have all these memories, but it's even as, spoiler alert here, I put Mario Kart Double Dash. We talked about this. Mario Kart 8 is, except for the battle mode, is better in every way. I enjoy it way more now. Going back to Double Dash is really hard after playing Mario Kart 8, which is so great. But it's Mario Kart Double Dash. I have so much nostalgia for it. The two of us.
Oh, yeah.
Blanket forts. 7th grade, man. It's a good time.
Staying up way too late.
Yeah.
Trying to get that mirror mode completed. Unlock all the characters, get all the cards.
wonderful.
It is a game.
But I had to put Double Dash on the list just because of that nostalgia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what? In another 5 years, I might look back and say, Double Dash is great, but I'd never want to play it again. Like, Mario Kart 8 is like the superior, that's what I want to go play and have fun with.
Yeah, and I had to do that too in my list where, I like the series, but I have to like choose which game I have the most like fond memories for.
Right.
So that's tough.
I know it's especially tough for you because you played way more games than I have.
Yeah, probably.
Because
at the same time, I look at what games other people have played and I still think, man, I had such a narrow experience. Like I had 5 games to the Super Nintendo, but they were the 5 best games on the Super Nintendo,
I feel the same way when I listen to other podcasts. Like, some of these guys, it's like, dude.
They're just dropping knowledge on some obscure game that you've only ever heard the title of.
And I'm like, not even that. I've never even heard of that game. And they're talking about it like it's a fucking classic. I'm like, dude.
And
what?
it probably is.
It probably is. How many games do you think, like, and when I say games, I know there are hundreds of thousands of games in the world. When I say game, I mean like quality. I'm not talking about smartphone, apps, rinky-dink DOS games. I'm talking, like, when we think of a video game, we're going to go sit down and play in 2016, the current year.
You're splintering our audience.
I'm so sorry. Well, I don't. If you care about.
Anyways, finish this off.
I don't. Whatever. Like, there are still like tens of thousands of games, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's an exaggeration. I don't know.
No,
there's so many games.
That's probably an under exaggeration. Especially if you can consider each console version as a different game. Like,
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't.
I mean, there are, like, if you look at the Wii version of Madden in 2010,
okay,
it's going to be different from the PS3 and Xbox.
That's like, okay, then we're getting to the nitty gritty of like,
I'm just saying,
I want to play every console game that's ever come out. Do I really need to play 23 versions of fucking NBA 2K? Do I really need to do that?
You don't have to, but it's a different game.
Technically. If I was going to be some sort of ridiculous collector trying to get a complete collection, then those are the numbers I care about. But I'm just talking about unique experiences. I want to experience as much of it as possible. I'll never be able to play the games that have all the console games that have been released. Even the ones worth playing, I probably won't be able to go back and play all of them and continue to like play modern games.
So here's a question then.
Ridiculous.
So, obviously, there are thousands and thousands of games out there. On this top 10 list that you have constructed, could you only play these games for the rest of your life? Or would you rather not play any of these games ever again and only play other games?
Oh, okay. That's a really tough question.
Because I know some of these games on this list you always go back to.
Yeah.
Especially if you think of it as a series. If I nailed it to even a series, you would be screwed.
Oh, yeah. If I could play these games and the games in the series, easily this could sustain me for the rest of my life. And I wouldn't need another game. Like, I'd be totally
because you're just nostalgia jerking it.
Not even that. Okay, so
I am.
This is a question that we should consider as we go through our lists.
Okay. Because
easily this list could sustain me for the rest of my life.
I think my list has sustained me for the last years.
It has sustained me until the age of 25, and it will sustain me until the age of 26.
That's it. I'm not trying to think much further than that.
No, I just even thinking a year in advance is it's too much commitment.
Okay. How about this? You start me off. What's the first game you have on your list? And we're not going by number 1, number 2, number 3. We're just going by one of them, because we can't. There's no way we could possibly try and list them.
I even listed these as they came to my brain. I'm going to read them out of order here.
Perfect.
Because I don't
just don't reread.
Well, no, I'll make a note here so I don't. Like I said, I can get tangential and I'll forget what I was talking about.
Perfect.
I'll have a stroke mid-conversation and, I
give me a game. What's a game on your list?
All right. I'm going to start off with the only Zelda game I've completed. Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker.
Oh, yes.
Love that game.
It's a fantastic game.
I'm going to say, I love that game about all these games.
Weird.
As if you didn't know. As a top 10 list. I love that game. Everything about that game to me. I mean, I almost cry when I hear the ocean theme from that game. Like just the countless hours spent just didn't matter where I was. Huddled up in my music room all alone in the dark.
Hearing it in my head right now.
Right. Oh my God, it's wonderful. Whenever I think about that theme, I think of the guy who does the acapella versions.
Oh, I hate that guy.
I love it. Oh, he's so great.
Smooth McGrew. Sorry, Smooth. Name dropping you on our new YouTube.
God, he's great. And I think of his cover of that song whenever I think of The Wind Waker. But
that just gave me a nightmare.
I know that game was like really panned when it came out, and the hype, there was no hype leading up to it. People were so mad when they first got a glimpse of it. I don't care. I think as time has gone on, people remember that game much more fondly. Because I think it's one of the strongest Zelda games. Not only because the aesthetic is adorable, and I love adorable things.
It's timeless.
That's a big part of it too. Mm-hmm. We've talked about multiple times going back and playing Ocarina of Time.
Does not age well.
Well, I don't think it does. And without the nostalgia, it's hard to go back and play. I've tried, and I'm a picky gamer. And
we don't want to open that can of worms right now.
But
trying to appreciate, not depreciate.
Yeah, and maybe this is like Wind Waker was like a precursor to my love for open world games, where it's like, even though it's not truly open world, it's linear, give or take, for the most part.
Yeah.
But the feeling of being able to go out and explore, and I can just go to this island, even if nothing's there for me, I can't get in there until I've advanced in the story far enough. But I'm exploring, and I'm enjoying the atmosphere. Wonderful game. Oh man, I'm trying to think. The first time I played that game, I don't know when I first experienced it, but I do know in high school, I had a buddy who borrowed a bunch of DVDs from me, and someone close to him had robbed him, and all my stuff went missing. So, to kind of pay me back for my items that had been pawned or whatever,
his penance.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I've got this old GameCube laying around." So I know I experienced Wind Waker for the first time in 7th grade. I got a GameCube in 7th grade after we moved. And I switched schools, and it was kind of my parents' way of like, sorry, and here, I hope this helped kind of thing, right? But I didn't get very far. Whatever. It was in high school, my sophomore year, maybe my freshman year. I don't know. I'm getting tangential here. And he's like, I got this old thing laying around. And a couple years prior, I had traded my GameCube for a DS because I thought it was so cool. And I remember when I did it, thinking to myself, oh my God, they're going to release Smash Bros. On this thing like in a couple years.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's literally why I did it, thinking I'm going to be able to play Smash Bros. On the school bus every morning. Like, done deal. So I traded it. But anyway, this guy, I've got this dusty old game system lying around. Like, do you want it? Would that be okay? I was all over it. Came with Zelda, the Master Quest disc, Wind Waker, Mario Kart, Smash Bros. I mean, all these staples that I'd gotten rid of years prior.
The ones you want.
Idiot. Yeah. And I remember just sitting up in the music room. This is a guy I played music with back in the day, and we would sit upstairs playing music till like 2, 3 in the morning. We'd take a break, we'd hop up on the stage, and we'd sit there and just be playing this little old CRT TV. And dude, that theme, you just get lost, man. Sailing the oceans now. Now, if I go to the beach, like, pop the headphones in, I got 2 things, man. It's either Wind Waker or it's the Alchemy Index. But that's another topic for another time. So yeah, wonderful game. I don't know. You never beat that game, did you?
No, not on GameCube and not on the HD re-release. I first bought that game from a CD game exchange, and much to my chagrin, I reached a point in the game where the disc would no longer read, and then that was it for me. And I couldn't return it to CD game without them being like, yeah, we could trade this in for like $1.
$1. Talk about a racket.
Yeah, and it was just like, it was too messed up. It couldn't be fixed. So
how far were you in the game when that happened?
Not very. I mean, it was like, if you at home, no. But I think I just beaten the bird, the top of the Forbidden Fortress when you go back there.
Oh God! Okay,
so so that's like the second dungeon, basically. Yeah. Like I hadn't even done like the first little bit of the Deku Tree, but then nothing much further than that.
You got further on the HD version, though, right?
Oh, much further. Yeah, I'm at the last fetch quest.
Okay,
which
fetch
is
quest
shorter.
Much shorter. Oh, in the speed sails. I didn't. You know what? The what do they call it? I
didn't use the speed sailing.
Really?
In the remake, yeah, no.
Did you even get them? It's kind of weird how you find them.
Well, the first time you sail, it's like, hey, do you want to have a faster sailing speed? I was like, no.
No, if I recall, you have to like go to an auction and you have to outbid some people. It's a really weird process.
Well, I didn't need that anyway because it's fairly quick that you get the teleporting. So I mean, it was like I was never a big deal for me.
That's true. I didn't use it half the time because, like I said, my favorite part of that game was just sailing. You know, you run into these pirate outposts.
Yeah.
And you run into random islands, and it's just a good experience. And by the time I played the HD version, it was nostalgia. So I just wanted to just taking a break from fighting moblins and shit and just experiencing the open ocean. It's a nice break. There's something about that where the pacing in that game, like it was kind of what you wanted to make it. But for me, like a game, maybe that's why I love open world games like I do, is because it can be as quick or slow as you want. It's your own experience. And so the pacing of that game was the first time I ever like thought about, like, this is great. I'm action going, 100 miles an hour. And then it's like, I'm relaxing and genuinely relax. Like, how often are you playing a video game and you just kind of sit back in your couch and you're like, you're relaxed, you're chill, dude.
Dude, it's rare. And when you feel it, you're like, this is something new. This is like, cool.
I'm trying to think of all the times I've like experienced that, like Zelda. I mean, Animal Crossing. That game was made to just get stoned and sit on your couch and relax.
I guess
like
Animal Crossing has never been like a relaxing game for me. It's always been like a zone out kind of game, which I don't think are the same thing for me personally.
Fair enough.
Like, I get that from like something like Fez with the soundtrack and the art style.
That game stresses me out though. I know what you're saying.
I never got stressed out, but that game, every time something new and cool popped up, I was like, dang, I'm just fucking, this is tight. This is like intriguing my brain, but also like easing me in. It's great. Anyway, not even on my list, but I thought I'd give it a little honorary shout out.
So what's the first game on your list then?
First game on my list.
Have you got a Zelda game on your top 10?
I considered it, which, shame on me not having a Zelda game on my top 10.
Okay, so before you get in your top 10, what's your favorite Zelda game?
If I had to pick one, it'd probably be Awakening for the Game Boy.
Link's Awakening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think it was the first Zelda game I actually beat by myself.
How old were you?
I was young. Like, I was like...
That's specific.
6 or 7.
Okay. Damn. I did not have a proper grasp on video games at 6 or 7.
It might have been 8, because I think I got it around the same time I got my first Pokemon game, which was the year it came out.
Okay.
It was 98 year.
I feel like I wasn't until I was about 8 years old that I got a grasp on more RPG elements and puzzle elements. Before, all I played was like platformers and like racing games.
Well, as we all know, I'm a better gamer than you are.
That's true.
But, yeah, I mean, all the Zelda games, I've played most of the Zelda games, and I've beaten about half of them. So,
okay.
Like...
How many of the 3D Zelda games have you beaten?
Well, I've beaten Ocarina of Time. I haven't beaten Wind Waker, but I've gotten darn near close.
Damn near close.
Beat Twilight Princess. Haven't played Skyward Sword, so I can't count that.
Okay.
But,
it is technically a 3D Zelda, you know that, right?
Yeah, I know. I know it is. I just haven't played it. I'm saying of the ones I've played, I beat half of them. And then I've gotten halfway through Majora's Mask, and that's like the one I haven't really played as that much.
Fair enough. So, first game in your top 10.
First game on my top 10, earliest game on my top 10, Donkey Kong Country 2.
Don't get me started, boys and girls.
Well, yeah,
I'm kidding. Classic game. I have a lot of nostalgia for that.
You have nostalgia for it, but you're a hater too. So, Donkey Kong Country 2 I had to go with because it's Donkey Kong Country, but better, because you don't have to control Donkey Kong. Because he was the worst part of Donkey Kong 1.
He's really clunky.
He's clunky, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
Diddy just felt better to control. The music in those games are just phenomenal.
World class.
And so Super Nintendo was my first console. Got it for Christmas, maybe 95, 96. And I had the Donkey Kong pack-in, I believe. Either that or my mom got it with the Super Mario World pack-in, which is the standard one, and just got Donkey Kong Country 2. But, so I get Donkey Kong Country, and that's my first video game. I remember playing that, and actually having to hand off the controller to my mom, to have her help me with some of the more physically demanding with the hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
You know, like you gotta time the barrels just right.
Yeah.
Barrel Canyon, which we all know.
Dude, okay, let me interject with how cool is it that you have like gaming nostalgia with your mom?
Dude, it's phenomenal. I loved it.
It's
playing Mario Kart with
wonderful.
her. So many cool memories.
Dude,
just gaming with my mom.
I'm jealous.
Because if it was video game stuff with my brother, it was always one of us getting mad at the other one.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, that was cheap.
Yeah.
Because it was always competitive games.
That was cheap, dude.
Like, trying to get him to play Smash Bros. We won't play Smash Bros. So he makes me play NCAA with him, but I just keep using the counters, which are OP in that game. Anyway, Donkey Kong Country 2 had a great soundtrack, had a wonderful aesthetic. I like the pirate stuff. It was really cool. All the music. The level design was really cool. The enemies it was oozing with character.
Yeah.
And at that age, I did not realize that there was a marketing campaign that was like, yo, check it out, Super Nintendo, so strong. You don't need that Sega. You don't need that PlayStation.
Yeah.
But I know people, they look back on it, they're like, Nintendo, that was disingenuous. And for that, we are mad.
Blast processing!
Well, I mean, it wasn't that disingenuous. But it was kind of like, we're working with the 3D designers, and this is the new future, blah, blah, blah.
Dude, those pre-rendered graphics still blow me away when
They look great.
Just the other day, I popped on my DS and I put on DKC2 on my DS and I play it in the native resolution, so you're getting like the purest experience visually. And I'm just like, this is on the Super Nintendo. You know how many games I put on the Super Nintendo that look like my fucking asshole? That game is beautiful. And the fact that, I mean, yeah, it doesn't hold up to modern 3D games, but you look at it and you think like, they were giving us 3D games years before they were able to do this with 3D consoles.
And not even just the art style, not even just the graphics, the style that they went with was just so distinct.
Yeah.
And you see those trees and you just think, oh, I know. And you hear the noises in your head. You think of the jumps you have to make. You think of bananas spinning stationary, floating above these weird trees. Which, I mean, before that, Donkey Kong was a mean monkey that threw barrels that Mario had to jump over.
To be fair, he's still a mean monkey that throws barrels.
Well, yes, but he's also a nice monkey who rides a rhinoceros.
Yeah.
So, there's a bit of a leap, canonically. But,
okay.
Donkey Kong Country, yeah, those games, I mean, the mechanics in those, the physics of them, that, taught me how to platform. That and Mario World, obviously, everyone played Mario World's seminal game. It really just, that's the end-all, be-all of platformers, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But Donkey Kong Country 2 was so great. And, your animal companions, they changed them up a little bit. You had Squawks, which was in the first one, but he had a separate role. In the second one, he Squawks. Was that the third one?
I can't remember.
Anyway, you got the snake, the little bouncy snake. I mean, there's... Yeah. Dude. I love the animals.
I have the strangest memory. There's I think it's the first boss. The
bird?
The bird on the airship.
I'm just a regular pirate ship, but he's got the pirate
It's not an airship?
That's the final boss is an airship.
Excuse me. Pardon me. We got the pizza and beer burps over here. It's terrible. I know it's...
Trying to stay carbohydrated.
That's what we want to listen to. Well, introductory podcast, we burp a lot. Anyway, I have the weirdest memory of that game and that boss playing it at a neighbor's house. And I was 5 or 6, probably 6 years old, and we were being in their basement, and I couldn't beat him. And the older brother came down and said, "Oh, this boss is a cinch." And I didn't know what that word meant, or what the phrase meant in that context. So I thought cinch was what that creature was called. Oh, that boss is a cinch. Okay. Yeah.
No, that boss is a bird.
That's a cinch. That weird bird, the cinch.
The cinch bird. That's so funny. I love that.
It's such a weird... I always have the memory whenever I play that game, I always tell myself this boss was a cinch. Even
a real son of a cinch.
Yeah. So just a weird little thing that I always think about when I play that.
Dude, the boss fights, you bring that up and I just hear the music playing in my head and I'm thinking of the bird, I'm thinking of that weird sword and the lava level.
The beat? Is that that's the second one, right? The
first and second.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe there was even they even came back in the third. I don't remember.
I've never played the third.
Third, that's good.
Did you play as the Diddy Jr., that fucker?
You got Kitty and you got Dixie. And I don't know. I think it's got redeeming values. A lot of people like to hate on it, but it's definitely the worst of the three. But I mean, you're competing against Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Country 2. It's hard to compete with that. It's just that people were so blown away that the second one was actually better than the first one. So that doesn't hardly happen.
It doesn't happen often. I can think of a few games, but there are a lot of sequels in the world, and most of them are markedly worse.
Right. So yeah, I mean, how to go with DKC2? It was tough choosing between that and the first one because the first one being that early, childhood memory, but the second one is definitely a better game, and I go back to it. I probably play through and beat it about once a year.
Guess what we're doing tonight?
Probably gonna play some DKC2.
Oh, we're playing some DKC2.
Oh yeah.
So, number 2 on my list
for you.
I'm jumping around here. So one of the things I did when making this list was I wanted to try to represent all the genres I love, and even if they aren't the best game or even my favorite game in that genre, it's the most important to me.
Right.
Try
to twist your arm for.
It's really tough. And when we get to some of these games, I'm not even committed to the last two on this
Oh,
list.
you're gonna be so defensive. You're like, no, hear me out.
I'm just gonna own my choices, folks. I'm gonna own them. So I'm gonna go with Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage.
Ripto's Rage, specifically. He's a very angry Ripto.
He was a angry motherfucker.
So tell me about Spyro 2, because I did not really play. I played a little bit of Spyro. I rented it maybe once.
Okay.
And I can't remember which one. I just know Purple Dragon, platformer, kind of fly around.
Action platform, you're going around,
Goofy
you're
voices.
killing
It had
things.
voiceover stuff too. Right?
Yeah, it had voiceover. Spyro had the goofiest fucking voice.
Right. Tell me why the second one specifically, and why Spyro impacted you.
Okay. Maybe I played the first one at too young of an age, but I was 6 years old. It was Christmas. I was a first grader, and my parents got me a PlayStation. And at this point, so my first console was an NES, as you well know.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with it. My dad bought it when it came out in the 80s. I was born in 92. So at this point, this ancient relic, NES.
Kirby's already come and gone.
Exactly. What year was that? Really late release.
Sidetracked, yeah. About
Sorry, I'm thinking about
91 or 92. It was
really
after
release.
Super Nintendo.
So I grew up playing that, Mario World, Joust. First game I ever played.
Mario Bros, you mean?
Mario Bros.
Mario World.
Did I say Mario World? I'm hitting my mic. Mario Bros, yeah. Joust is the first game I ever played, first game I have memories of. And I always say it's a shitty arcade port. It's really not that bad. There were a lot of ports of that game. This is one of the better ones.
There's a lot of arcade ports that were actually really bad.
Yeah, like genuinely terrible. So, going from the NES, and I had very little Genesis experience from family members, very little SNES experience from neighbors or whatever.
You had Game Boy experience by that point, didn't you?
No. Maybe like very cursory. Like I had seen my uncle play.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought maybe your uncle had a Game Boy.
But excuse me, these damn beer burps. I tell you what.
Worst beer.
So I got the PlayStation. I got Crash 2. I got Spyro 1, and something else I can't remember. Not important because I don't own it today. I remember hooking that up, and I remember my dad playing and wouldn't let me play because he's going from. My dad's not a gamer at all, but like when the NES came out, that was like revolutionary. Obviously, it brought us back from the video game crash, Atari, video games almost died completely. NES brought it back, and it was in everybody's home. My dad went out and bought one on launch day. Like, what? Mm-hmm. He tells me this story about he went and got it, and there was one more in the case, and he was like, here, flagged down a person. Someone came over to get it out for him, and another guy came up and said, I want that right there. And they got in a squabble over it, and it's like my dad arguing over video games. Such a foreign concept to me. Which is weird. My dad grew up, I grew up watching him play like Half-Life and stuff. Now when you mention video games to him, he scoffs like it's the most childish thing in the world. I'm like, you were like a 30-year-old man playing Half-Life. I remember this. What happened to you?
He's like, cool.
Like, come on, man. Like, you joined the dark side, okay? But the PlayStation, I remember him playing it the next day. I guess Christmas morning, I got it on Christmas Eve. I remember him playing Spyro for the first time. He was trying to figure out, he's like, 3D, how do you do this? And I was like, I can show you. I remember getting it and experiencing that 3D world for the first time. And most people, they experienced their first 3D world was Mario 64, right? Like whenever you hear about that, it's like...
Or like Knights in the very rare corner case.
Right. So for me, it was Spyro the Dragon. And I remember that first game pretty well. I remember it being really fun, but I didn't really play the story. I just kind of went through, because in the game there were these portals that take you from world to world and level to level.
It was, the hub world was still very, very popular.
Yeah, and so
Mario,
yeah, kind of was the first to do a lot of things. So I remember just running around killing enemies. I didn't really go through the story. I wasn't keen on objectives. I was 6 years old. Whatever. Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. All of this to say, Ripto's Rage was superior in every way. The narrative was stronger than, come on. I was, 7
The dragon narrative.
Whatever. I found it very humorous. I always say the narrative. The cutscenes are great. It's like watching a little cartoon. The characters were awesome. And this like cheetah with this leopard and this fawn. Fawn, is that right? Goat woman?
Yeah.
Little fawn.
I'd go with satyr.
Satyr?
Yeah.
Am I thinking? I'm getting my
I think of
mythology
fawn. I
confused.
think of like a baby deer.
Oh, let's see. Was her names? I can't remember.
It might have been like a deer pun. I mean, that for a goat pun.
I imagine something like that. So the characters were great, but that game I remember just beating that over and over. When my brother and I would just took turns and we'd beat the game and boom, we'd restart. The boss fights are just so epic. I remember that last boss fight playing against Ripto. Is just the different phases as you whittle him down. They had this orb system where you got different power-ups based on these orbs you picked up. And so you could do, just all sorts of different crazy powers. And like, I'm this little dragon wreaking havoc, all these crazy, So that was really great. And that's kind of the first 3D game I played. That and Crash. But Spyro is the game I remember the most because I remember...
and you said you had Crash 2, that was your...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because Crash 1, there was not nearly that much 3D elements to it. It was a lot of the front to back kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like occasionally you do like sort of platforming stuff.
That was that was a pretty early game. Crash 2 is really great. I considered it up for my 3D platformer, list, but
Wrath of Cortex or
Cortex Strikes Back.
interchangeable 2 and 3.
Yeah, Crash 2. I think Crash 3 is warped. Crash 3 warped.
Oh, warped.
But Ripto's Rage. I remember going back when I was 16, going to my senior year, 17. I was 17, going to my senior year, and I was babysitting all summer. So I spent my entire summer out in. So I live in Oregon. There's this place in Oregon called Sandy, Oregon. But fuck nowhere. I am out in a trailer babysitting a couple of my cousins. And such long days. I can't tell you. Long, hot days in this trailer, just like trying to distract myself. They'd go down for a nap, and I'm just like going crazy trying to not, I mean, I was a 17-year-old. I'm missing out on my summer. I'm babysitting because I want that scratch money, you know what I mean?
Well, that scratch, trying to get some women, hanging out with these kids.
One of those things. I was also hanging out with kids. I remember after like 2 weeks, I finally was like, hey, I can bring my PlayStation. I have this old PS1 laying around. I can bring this over here. And at the time, my thought process was, I can't bring my game system over. I've got a 2 and a 5-year-old here. So bad thing, my disc will get scratched, my system will get stomped on. So I didn't bring my systems. I didn't have a smartphone at the time. I had just an old iPod. It was me and Eminem and Godsmack and like whatever I was listening to that summer. Like, right? I don't know. It's a really weird summer, I tell you. But I remember finding my old PlayStation 1. I'm hitting my mic again. And thinking to myself, dude, you could throw this thing off a roof, it'll still work. I don't care. These kids can stomp on it, spit in it, put peanut butter on the laser. I don't care.
And they did.
No, they were really mild-mannered children. But I remember taking that over there, and then that's all I did. I'd sit there, and I'd switch out with my 5-year-old cousin, and she'd run around, she'd get stuck, and she'd ask me for help, and we beat Spyro together. I actually ended up 100% in that game that summer. Beating all the worlds, collecting all the orbs. Which I always aspire to do when I play games nowadays. Always.
Collect all the orbs.
I want to, specifically the orbs. I want 100% games. I play games very, like, with my, my obsessive compulsive nature. That's like, I want to do every little side quest. I want to complete everything 100%. I want to play the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
And I never do it. That's why I never beat anything.
It's hard. You don't beat games.
I never do. So that game, that's great. Specifically those memories. And I put that on here because I was able to go back to age 17.
Yeah, dude, it's so great to have a game that you have nostalgia for and to experience it with somebody else for their first time and them actually, like, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough when you're like, dude, I love this game. You try to show someone, they're like, no, I'm feeling it. That, like, it hurts you on a personal level.
Yeah.
A little bit. I respect that.
Number 2. How long have we been recording here?
Dude, for a long time.
We've been going at it for...
way too long. No one's going to want to listen to this. I'm sorry, everyone.
It's so long.
I got 9 more of this shit.
Yeah.
We should just do like
speed it up here. Let's speed it up here.
We'll wrap it. Okay.
Number 2 for you.
2 for me, Banjo-Kazooie.
Banjo.
So like you said with Spyro 2 for you, kind of the same with Banjo-Kazooie for me. So we got N64, got Ocarina of Time, and Super Mario 64, and obviously played those games a lot.
Yeah.
I couldn't play Ocarina of Time that much. Got too scared. It was a little bit difficult because I was a small child, so I couldn't handle it.
Frightening game.
And the funny thing with Banjo-Kazooie is, I had a friend who had that game, and I was over at his house one time. He was like, dude, I just got this new game. Want to check it out? It's Banjo-Kazooie. And I looked at it, I was like, doesn't look very interesting. And I totally just blew it off. And like a year later,
What a mistake.
Dude, I know, right? A year later, I think, maybe a year or two later, I end up getting that game, and it's just like, this is the game. This is the best game. This is the game for this console. I'll say it. Banjo-Kazooie is the best game on N64. Fuck fight me.
I can't disagree. I can't make an argument. I think there are a lot of bad games on that console. Even the well-regarded games are really not very good.
But it took the 3D, it took the 3D platforming genre that Mario 64 had basically pioneered and been like, yo, this is how games are. And it took that and it like pretty much, it followed it note for note.
But
that was an intentional pun.
Deep cut.
Deep.
They fucking owned it.
Yeah, they owned it. They had these great characters that had super funny dialogue. It was kind of the early edge of that time period where characters would be like kind of like combative against each other. They're kind of like dicks. Like Kazoo was
90s cartoons.
Yeah, dude. Kazoo was a total bitch.
Sure.
But she was a boss-ass bitch.
Boss-ass
bitch. And she just hung out in that goddamn backpack and she helped Banjo fly around.
Huh?
Dude, and the flying in that game was phenomenal. Like, it controlled just everything about that game. Like, it felt like it was made for the 64's controller, which not a lot of games really utilize to its full potential.
Worst controller in modern video game history.
Whatever. It worked for that game.
So, what are some of your fondest memories? I specifically remember when we were 2021 and you were living out the apartments, and I remember going up to your room and you were playing it. I think on your PC.
Probably, yeah.
And I think maybe Banjo 2 even.
I had Banjo 2 on my Xbox. So I bought it. It was one of the, the arcade, the rare, not the rare replay, but Rare got bought by Microsoft. So they had Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie on the XBLA. And I bought Banjo-Tooie because I never actually beat it.
Okay.
So I was trying to beat it.
That was right after you bought a 360. You had a 360 really late.
Yeah, I goofed on that one.
I goofed. Yeah.
That was a big goof.
I remember coming up and you were playing that, and I remember you just like gushing. I was like, I've never played it.
Yeah, Banjo-Tooie was actually like one of those rare sequels where you had all your powers from the previous installment.
Yeah.
And like no games do that because of like, it's harder to, start new players in. But Banjo-Tooie came up pretty late in the system's lifespan, so they figured if you're gonna buy Banjo-Tooie, you've already played and beaten Banjo-Kazooie.
Right.
But dude, Banjo-Kazooie, like, as one of those early games that I got for the 64, like that was seminal for me.
Yeah.
And just like I can still play through and 100% that game, like right now.
Guess what we're playing tonight?
Donkey Kong Country.
So we're gonna hit all of
and Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
And Spyro. We're gonna play all 20 of these fucking games.
I got all of them before you leave here. I'm not letting you leave.
I'm not going to bed. Great.
Yeah.
So what's your third? Because I've already talked about Banjo-Kazooie.
So, oh boy. I feel like all these games, I'm not going to have anything new to say about them. It's just going to be like, love the game, great aesthetic, lots of nostalgia.
I played it now.
Yeah. Okay. Fire Emblem Awakening.
Right. That's one of the more recent ones.
2013?
Sounds right.
2013?
2012 or 2013, I'd say.
This is the reason I bought a DS. And it's weird because I've never beaten a Fire Emblem game prior to Awakening.
You'd only played the Game Boy Advance one, right?
I played the 2 on GBA. Apparently. We can't agree. We rented the same copy. I swear it was Sacred Stones. You swear it was Fire Emblem.
It wasn't.
I can't say one way or the other.
I have never played Sacred Stones.
So you say.
No, I know for a fact.
Yeah, I don't know. So I must have played it at another time, but I remember we had a Hollywood Video. Half Hollywood Video, half Game Crazy.
Dude, it was the Game Crazy, man.
And we all know Blockbuster Hollywood Video, they didn't rent out handheld games. Which sucked. Because, I had a Game Boy. I had my PlayStation, but I had my game. I could take it to school. Remember we had a lot of, our moms were on the PTC, the PTA committee, and we spent a lot of long nights sitting at our elementary school. Excuse me. And our Game Boy saved our lives, man. Like, we could have been forced to read books.
Or forbid.
No. We read a lot of
Interact
books.
with anyone.
Yeah, we read a lot of books and we interacted with a lot of people, but we had our Game Boys, and that saved me a lot of undue misery as a child. But you could never rent them at Hollywood or at Blockbuster. So when Game Crazy moved into the Hollywood Video, next to our local Fred Meyer, they started renting out Game Boy games for a week at a time. Amazing. Oh my God, dude. I remember walking in there, their big glass display case, any game you wanted. Oh my goodness. I remember getting, Legacy of Goku, and I remember renting the NES. They put out like the classic releases.
Right.
I remember going back and playing some of those because I sold my NES off like a fool. So anyway, Fire Emblem. I remember playing that game, and I specifically remember playing that first Fire Emblem game on the toilet. And I had never played a game like this. I'm sitting there doing my business. I'm sitting here playing, and that first battle happens. And pardon me. And however you get into it, but I remember just being like, I've never played a game where like, what is this system? I'm trying to figure it out. One of the few times where instead of being scared and turning, the tail tucked between my legs and running off, being, this is new and complicated. I was like, this is so fucking cool. The rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, system, scissors. And I've had a few. And it's so hot in here. I'm getting delirious. This light is...
Are you going to talk about Fire Emblem, or are you just going to sweat and mutter?
I'm going to get that. I promise you. So the game blew me away. Years later, 2013, I hear that a new Fire Emblem is coming out. And I'm like, Fire Emblem. Something sparked in me. I remember that game. I'm like, I remember that game. I went out and bought a 3DS before I even knew where to buy the game. I went out and bought a 3DS and said, boom, Fire Emblem. Gonna happen. And then I proceeded to not be able to find a copy of the game for like 4 weeks. I remember there was a shipping issue. Pre-orders didn't go out. You couldn't get a game on store shelves. And then, almost a month later, at this time I'm working graveyards with our buddy Max, who you well know.
I know. I think we all know at this point.
We're on lunch break. We go to a Walmart specifically to look for Fire Emblem. I get distracted elsewhere in the electronics section.
As you are wont to do.
I do. I can't go through any electronics section without just meandering, browsing every little fucking thing. This motherfucker. He comes out. Walmart associate in tow. Copy of motherfucking Fire Emblem Awakening. And I said, yo, they got copies. He said, yep, last one. And I said, lucky me. He said, nope, I'm buying it. And I said, what?
RKO out of nowhere.
Fucked me up, dude. This motherfucker didn't even own a 3DS.
No.
This dude had never played a Fire Emblem game before. It was just one of those things where he's like, I'm gonna fuck with EJ. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what his deal was, but I was like, no. So I had to wait another week. Finally found a copy. But this game is one of the first games where, and here's the thing, I know now I've played through the series. This is like Fire Emblem Light, as far as like the barrier of entry for new players. Of course, I played it on hard mode, classic mode, did a lunatic run. Not a lunatic plus, because I'm not a fucking masochist. Really, just, oh man, I fucking cared about those characters. And I still do. When I play that game, like, there are moments where I got legitimately emotional, which does not happen in video games. Ever. Ever. But if any of you guys have played that game, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a moment where a certain character is reunited with her mother. And the cutscenes on the 3DS, best looking 3DS games, by far. The cutscenes on that game, pop them in 3D. And this is, I hate the 3D on the 3DS. I mean, the new 3DS is great, but prior to that, the 3D was garbage. Didn't use it for anything. The cutscenes on Fire Emblem Awakening, I'd pop that bitch on, dude. And I would watch these things in full 3D, just like melting my brain. Just beautiful, gorgeous. But those characters, I still go back. And I picked up Fire Emblem Fates, and I haven't been able to play it. Because I'm like, these aren't the characters I love.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you played Fates.
I have. I got
either of the iterations.
Maybe 10 chapters into, what is it, Birthright Conquest Revelations? Yeah. I think I'm like 10 chapters into Birthright. And it okay, it's a Fire Emblem game, cool. But, like, I can get that fix elsewhere, and if I don't care about the characters, like, I'm less inclined to want to devote all that time. And now that they did the branching paths and the 3 different games, it's, like, more of a commitment than, like, an escape.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit overcomplicated for what those games have kind of tried to do in the past.
I need you to play Awakening. Like, I know I've hyped it up so much over the years that you won't give a shit when you finally play it, but
I'll play it eventually.
So much nostalgia.
You know.
So anyway, we're only number 3. I'm sorry. I get like this. Number 3, my friend.
Number 3 for me, I've got here Pokemon Silver. So I had to go specifically Silver because that was the one I played as a child.
Yep.
I'm sure Gold is just as good.
I'm sure it is.
I know another similar Pokemon is on your list, but Silver for me was that generation.
Yep.
So
Strongest gen, dude.
we both got, I think we both played Red or Blue.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So we had that first generation, our first touch of what an RPG is.
Mm-hmm.
We learned some words. We learned some terms that were very, very important in those kind of styles of games. Learned what a critical hit was. Which,
they're critical.
Dude, and stuff being super effective, you're like, what that means?
What damage?
I am a child. What does this mean? So we were introduced in the Pokemon series 2 years before? 1 year before? Dude, it's so hard to remember.
Timeline. They don't care about the timeline.
Pokemon Silver came out, and I was in elementary school, and I remember getting it, and I was so stoked. Like, this was one of the first games I got, like, that was within the, like, week that it came out. Like, I got it, like, maybe a day after. I think it was on Friday.
Yeah.
I remember getting it, popping it in my Game Boy in the backseat of my mom's car, and
angling yourself in between.
trying to get the sunbeams.
Okay.
No, it was daytime. It was
okay.
like we're running errands. So I get it, I pop it in. I think we got it at Target. You know, buddy, Target.
That's where I got my copy of Pokemon Crystal here.
Oh, beautiful.
Target, baby.
Target. So Pokemon Silver, pop it in my Game Boy, and I turn it on, and it's got the different intro, and it's got color.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I watched the full intro. I'm like, dude.
Lugia coming across the fucking...
like the water and the shadows. Yeah. Oh.
Beautiful.
And this the silhouette. And oh man, yeah. So
oh man, yeah.
And playing it, and I started, and I was like, okay. So I remembered for the first game, I was like, okay, Grass Pokemon makes it easy throughout the entire game. I want to play it on easy first, and then I'll choose a fire starter later. Yes.
Really?
So I started with Chikorita.
Mistake, I tell you.
Which, obviously, as we all know, is not the best starter for any of the gyms. Because your first gym you go against is flying type. And then the second one is bug. And you're like, oh, what did I do? So I was playing it, and we're inside of Tower Records, and I'm just like wandering around. And I get a Pokemon, I get Geodude, and he learns Magnitude. And I'm like, they have new moves?
Oh my god.
And it was like a random number, and it did like a different amount of power based on the magnitude of the move, and I was like, what does magnitude mean? So I asked my mom, like, oh, like an earthquake. I'm like, earthquake? That's a move. So it was just like so much just a little shit like that. That was like mind blowing for me as a kid. And like going through and you get the different characters, and just the color and like the sprites being like in color was just enough for me. But there's so like little tiny things like having the experience part that wasn't in the first game, and then you see like you see a little symbol by your Pokemon. You're like, what does that mean? And then later you get to the Pokemon trainer, or the daycare, and you're like, you can breed Pokemon. Yeah. Pokemon eggs.
That blew my mind,
dude.
So cool.
So cool.
Let me articulate myself here for a second. It was so cool. So cool. I'm so well spoken. I know. I'm so well spoken.
Pretty rad.
So cool, dude.
And just like little, you get the little cell phone, and like you can get trainers' numbers, and they'll call you for a rematch.
Or the event Pokemon, or not the event Pokemon, but swarms of Pokemon. Yeah, the swarms.
Dude, a lot of that was really cool. You finally got Peekaboo, which was Meryl. Yeah. What's up with that, Meryl Streep?
Yep.
Oh, and then, the biggest twist in Pokemon history, you beat the Elite Four. You're like, alright, sick. And then, I don't know how it's introduced to you in the story, but you're like, oh, you get the waterfall, and you're like, you can climb up waterfalls, and you go east of your starting area, and you pop out, and you're in fucking Kanto. Dude. You're in the original red and blue. And the gym leaders are still the gym leaders. Some of them have changed. Koga's daughter is now the gym leader.
So much flavor there. So many wonderful Easter eggs when you go to Kanto.
It's the only sequel in the series.
Yeah. Which, Nintendo, get your fucking shit together.
Dude, it's a lot to ask, man. That was all Iwata.
That man. God rest his soul, man. I'll drink to that, man. Without Iwata, that game wouldn't exist.
No,
he came in and personally, we've all been regaled with this tale after he
I
passed.
just love it though because you see his signature on so many of these games that I hold dear to my heart. I'm just like, this guy's just a pinch hitter in all my fucking childhood.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I saw I think John Riggs was selling a balloon. Was it Balloon Fight? No, what game did he do?
I think it was Balloon Fight.
Balloon Fight? Iwata edition. And it's Iwata floating around.
That's cute.
And that was the first game you programmed. I'm like, that's really cool. And
That's
it had Iwata on the label and everything.
He did Joust too, didn't he? The port?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he actually did the port.
No way.
I think he worked on that port.
No, he didn't.
You're like, no.
Okay, hold on a sec. This could be the first code Satoru Iwata ever wrote for Nintendo. This is one of those. The guy just recently found these old boards with prototype NES games on them.
Right.
Some shady auction. Just missed out on like the Super Mario Bros. And stuff. Joust was one of them. And
What'd I tell you? Dude, this guy.
Oh, Frank Cifoli. Okay, yeah. He was at PRGE. Cifoli's on the Retronauts, correct?
No, I don't think so.
He was on an episode listening
Probably
to something.
Yeah. That sounds right.
I don't know. Anyway. Satoru Iwata, man. What an impact on our childhood.
Pokemon Silver going through and fighting Blue when he's in the Elite Four. Or no, he's the gym leader.
Giovanni took Giovanni's place.
He's one of the gym leaders, and then you go up Mount Silver and you fight Red.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. And the new types, like there's so much cool stuff. They finally fixed Psychic as not being an OP type.
Yeah, they balanced the game. It was like they fixed all the wrongs with the first game.
And then like
except he couldn't run.
Even like the little introduction of like the evolutionary paths, like having Slow King and Kingdra and like those things. I thought that was really cool. Where you could have more Pokemon that evolved through like trading, like Scizor and Steelix was just so tight.
Yeah,
Steel Pokemon, man.
That was one of the biggest things for me when this fool was playing footsie with me on the table here.
Can't help it.
No, that was the coolest thing for me. Was like old Pokemon were getting evolutions now.
Mm-hmm.
And that blew me away. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know. It just was. I remember
the baby Pokemon, like they're kind of like
dude, awesome.
They're kind of a cop out sometimes, but like they're still like really cool.
The original,
at least like Elekid, Magby,
dude, they're all great.
Pichu's alright. Dude, they're not all
adorable.
Great. Igglybuff, who cares?
Dude, but it was adorable.
I didn't like Igglybuff.
So much flavor.
I like Cleffa a lot more than Igglybuff.
So I guess I'm gonna lead this into my number 3, which is Pokemon Crystal. Same difference here, right?
Right.
So, for me, I have the same nostalgia with this game. I remember, a brief aside here, I like to preface things with 10 minutes of pointless nonsense no one cares about.
Mm-hmm.
You got me into Pokemon. When I'm playing my NES here, not knowing shit about real games, right? I remember playing your copy of Pokemon Red. Your copy of Pokemon Red. And I have this very vivid memory, very specific. Being on the playground in North Gresham, elementary school. And you said, classic line, sure, just don't save.
Start a new one. You can't save. You get the one save file. You can't wipe my shit. Dude, you know how many Pokemon I had? I probably had like 60.
Actually, I'm confusing memories here. This memory that I'm about to tell.
Was that about Silver or was that about Red?
No, it was still about Red. So the first memory I have of Pokemon was on the playground, but I played your save. I played your save. And I was sitting on the wooden slide in the wood structure. I'm sitting there playing it, getting my light angle all funky, and you're doing whatever. And I kept asking you questions because I'm not sure what to do, right? I remember running into a Taurus, and I remember asking you, I want to catch this Pokemon. Do you have it? And I can't remember, I don't know. It didn't tell you or whatever. But I remember running to a Taurus and asking if you had it. Right? So that's my first memory with Pokemon. I have another memory with you, though. We were at my parents' house, and you let me start a new game, and you said, don't say whatever you do. And I remember all I wanted to do was go catch Pokemon. That's all I wanted to fucking do. And you're trying to explain to me, like, how to get from point to point B. And at this point, I'm freshly 6 years old. Like, I can read fine, but like, I'm sitting here trying to decipher all this stuff is happening. I'm like, where do I go? What do I go to do? I just want to go catch a Pokemon. You're like, you have to go up, you have to get the parcel delivered to Oak, you can go up, you can buy Pokeballs, whatever. And you like walk me through this, but you were like, I remember you being so irritating. You're like, figure it out. Classic Nick. Figure it out yourself.
Well, yeah, play the fucking game. I'm not gonna hold your hand. I'm not gonna Assassin's Creed for you.
Oh, God. Teaser alert. So, I remember that game is like the reason I like fell in love with reading. It was like a necessity for me.
Yeah, you had to fucking read.
I had to. And that's why I became such an avid reader. And, to this day, I love me a good book.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was like a chore for me to read. Pokemon made it fun to read. It was a necessity for me. And so thank you, Pokemon, for that. But Pokemon Crystal, I remember the hype leading up to Gold and Silver. I remember reading a Nintendo Power. And at this point, I still didn't own my own Game Boy. I was playing my uncle's Game Boy. He didn't let me borrow his teal Game Boy. Oh, man, I remember sitting in the basement playing his copy of Pokemon Gold. I had read about it, hyped it up. The day-night cycle, I remember reading about that, Nintendo Power, and was like, yo, day-night cycle, cell phones. It's so futuristic, man. Pokemon got cell phones fucking 10 years before I did. It's crazy. And so, all great. Pokemon Crystal, that very same Game Boy, 2 years later? Maybe just a year later, because I think it was, 2 years later. I was in 4th grade, I want to say. Wait, what year did Pokemon Crystal come out?
2000. 2001. So I'm pretty sure it was red, blue, and then the next year was yellow. Next year
July,
was silver. Next year was crystal. Yeah.
So it put me at 9 years old. So was that 4th grade?
That's the wrong guy, dude. I can't math that shit out. You graduated when you're 18?
That would put me in 4th grade. So I was in 4th grade? Okay. Sorry, I know you guys give me shit, right? I'm trying to suss this out in my own brain. 4th grade. And so it's 2 years later, and my uncle had sold me his Game Boy. And this was like amazing to me. My first handheld console. I remember begging my parents for my birthday.
This mighty boom.
I want a Game Boy. I want a Game Boy. Mom and Dad, I want a Game Boy. And they were so staunchly against it. My uncle sold me his on the cheap, tons of games. Like Oracle of Ages. Among them, a game I never understood as a wee lad. But anyway, Pokemon Crystal is the first game I ever bought with my own money in the store, in my own 2 hands. All right, Target, as we've established, Target.
Praise Targ.
And I remember what I was wearing that fucking day, man. Like, it's such a vivid memory. Walking into Target and wearing a tie-dye, red and blue shirt, Spider-Man. We are on our way. My parents had just bought a new minivan.
Remember that minivan?
I remember the smell. No, we had the old green, that Aerostar before. We got the Dodge Caravan.
Oh, the bread basket.
Before I was in 4th grade. And I remember they got it on my birthday. And I remember my birthday money, I went out, I bought Pokemon Crystal. I got in that new van, the new van smell, opened my box, busted it open, boom, popped it in my Game Boy Color. So all these things, all these weird factors into the nostalgia. Target, the new minivan, the new car smell, right? Okay, going to North Gresham immediately after Target because my brother was in like a school play or one of those musical things they do, whatever performances. And I remember sitting on the back of the cafeteria when they used to do those things, sitting on a table in the back of the cafeteria playing my Pokemon.
Oh, you had to have your volume down though.
Yeah,
that's the one thing though. You need that initial bling,
yeah,
and hear that music.
I got that in the van on the way to,
You had to get that though.
Mm-hmm.
And then you run into your first Sentret and you're like, what the fuck?
Oh my god. I remember going north. When you go out to that first route and you go north, and it's a dead end.
Mm-hmm. But you can get Geodude there.
Geodude, yep. I remember that. I remember like being stuck thinking like, how do I get over here? I gotta go. But no, so wonderful game. Actually just picked it up here. Where's it right here?
Yeah, right in the front.
Right in the front. That was like my holy grail game at Portland Retro Gaming Expo.
That was the one game you told me, like, dude, this is the only thing I'm looking for. And that's one of the 3 games you actually bought.
Yeah, so I didn't buy a lot of games. I bought a lot of strategy guides. Yeah. I got a killer fucking deal. I saved like $400 on strategy guides.
Yeah, that's good.
But first game I ever bought. Fucking awesome. So, number 4, my friend. Where you
Number
at?
4 for me, so moving a little bit forward here.
I'm out of beer. There's one more beer down here. Is there 2?
No, just take it.
There's 2.
I don't want more beer burps.
He's good. Beer burps.
Beer burps. I'm gonna wait for after Piyokis.
Okay.
So the GameCube. was a console. Obviously, you both have fond memories for.
Wonderful system.
GameCube was probably the first console I got relatively close to the release.
Mm-hmm.
My brother, prior to that, had got PS2, which he got it 6 months or so after it came out. But I got the GameCube like 2 months after.
Tell a Christmas story.
So for Christmas, okay, I'll preface this. It's not my game, but for Christmas that year, 2001, I remember specifically picking out the presents that looked like they were DVD cases. Because you know.
You fucking know.
We had a PS2 at that time, so I knew.
Yeah.
And you knew that you go for those ones because those are the ones holding the goodies.
Yeah.
And I opened up one of them. And inside, brand spanking new, Super Smash Bros. Melee.
At the time, which consoles did you have?
I had the PS2, the N64, and the Super Nintendo. So I open up Super Smash Bros. Melee, and I'm like, oh shit, bitch. I know what this means. And I go, Mom, you got me a GameCube, didn't you? And my mom, in her utter slyness, just frosty, cold, she showed nothing but just the utter horror of a woman who knew she messed up. And she said,
I love it the second time around.
She said, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, sweetie. I thought that was a PS2 game. And I am torn apart. I want to be so happy that I just got Super Smash Bros. Melee like so quickly after it came out.
Yeah.
I was so ready to be just excited. And I had that taken away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's very sweet, but it's not going to work on the PS2, Mom. And she's just like, I'm sorry. And like we continue Christmas, keep opening presents.
You're heartbroken. You've been demolished.
I'm like, I'm trying to recover, I'm opening up other presents, I'm getting other cool stuff.
Because you're aware enough that you don't want to be a sad boy.
No, I don't want to show that to my mom. She had the forethought and the knowledge to be like, I know my son wants this thing.
Yeah.
She brought me this thing. And then later I open up a brand new GameCube.
Motherfucking GameCube.
And I look at my mom.
And you're like, you.
And that was, I knew my mom was the best at that moment. So the GameCube, obviously, a lot of good memories. That fucking controller, best controller of all time. And I was thinking, Melee, it's a very important game for me. But the game I think I enjoyed the most on the GameCube was Paper Mario, The 1,000-Year Door.
Okay.
Which you did not really have much to do with. You've played Paper Mario now, more recently.
64, yeah.
But I played Paper Mario 64 like a couple years prior.
Right.
And that game was great. And I only played that game because the marketing for that was not a very good marketing. I remember seeing that and being like, I don't really care. But it was like, after playing Mario RPG super late after that came out, I was like, I want more Mario RPGs. It's great.
Yeah.
The writing is phenomenal. The characters are wonderful. It's actually giving like characters that don't have like any personality.
Mm-hmm.
Like Luigi is so funny in all those games.
Yeah.
So I picked up Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door, and it took what Paper Mario did on the N64 and just like stretched it out even more. It got so much deeper into like the paper jokes.
Yeah.
And like the RPG systems were just a little bit more complicated. Like not complicated, but like it added more to it.
Yeah.
Like your partners had health instead of being like
it was deeper.
And got knocked out.
Yeah. It was well.
So yeah, there's like so much good storyline in there. Like with Bobbery, like his storyline is like actually like it's cheesy, but it's also like heartfelt.
I haven't gotten. Where am I? I think I've gotten 3 stars in that game.
Okay, you're not very far.
Not terribly far.
But like at first, it kind of like it's a lot of like the carbon copy kind of from the first one. Like your first partner is a Goomba, and then you get the Koopa, and it's like it doesn't really start like playing with it until you get to the third area, and like you've got this weird cloud that's flying around. It's like it's not just a copy paste, Mario enemy that's now a homie, and it was just so cool what they did with like introducing these like new creatures and stuff. That was like these aren't Mario creatures, but they are because of the Paper Mario stuff, and they got that aesthetic, and they could actually stretch it out and make new stuff. And they haven't done that really since then. Like Mario and Luigi did it really well at first, and I haven't played many of the sequels. But like
those games are really great. They don't have the character that Paper Mario had.
Paper Mario
the aesthetic was so fucking. It was so unique. And like you said, like not only is the aesthetic great, like the whole paper theme.
It's an RPG. I love RPGs.
I love the way they weave that aesthetic into the humor of the game. Like you said, all the paper puns were just like, next level in that game. Like that like so cute.
Yeah, interacting with the world, like getting like new moves so you can interact with the world in different ways. Like that's such a Metroidvania RPG kind of thing where like, you can't get these like hidden star pieces and like unlock new badges and get new moves until later. It's like I love that kind of stuff. I'm into that kind of stuff because it takes the collectathon kind of vibe and like gives it more of like a numerical progression, having levels and stuff.
Right. You know what they got rid of in that game? Your fucking Z dash.
No, you still have that.
But you can't cheap it to go. Because in the original game, you could do your Z dash and you cancel at the very end, jump, do it again, and you're just going whoop 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 whoop. Super quick. But can't do that.
Both those games though, you get a partner later that allows you to have a faster run. So like first game you get lackluster, you get on the like you just zoom away. The second game you get the little baby Yoshi, you just zoom around, whatever. Which you would get to if you go to the next chapter.
Oh my god! Guess what we're playing tonight?
Well, we got too many.
We got a real big list.
Yeah, that was Your Door. I mean, it was the last of the Paper Mario actual RPGs.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, people will cry about it, but I just wish they would make a good Paper Mario game now, because Super Paper Mario was a fairly good game. I was very entertained with that game, and it was pretty short, but I beat it. I
hear decent things about Color Splash.
I've heard decent things, but the things that I've heard that are against it are a bit damning, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to deal with the repetitiveness of the combat and not having a lot of characters. It's sounds like it's just a lot of toads and shy guys.
I imagine when that game drops to $22 or whatever, that's a game that I'll pick up and you and I will go through it and
I mean, I'm going to do the same thing with a lot of those Wii U games that are going to drop in the next year.
Do it now, because the Wii U is going to be so collectible in a couple of years.
Oh yeah, it's probably going to be Dreamcast level. Maybe a little bit less because Dreamcast sold 6 million.
Here's the thing. Some of these Wii U games are already collectible because they had such a limited print run. I just sold a fucking Hello Kitty game for $75 that I found. I got $3 at Fred Meyer with the reward certificate. These games that collectors are already sniffed it out, but when these games that we talk about the attach rate, that how many Wiis that have sold, abysmal, 20 or 12 million, 13.5 shipped. Excuse me. But the attach rate, 8 million Mario Karts. Amazing.
Yeah, 6 million Smash Bros.
Amazing. That's insane. That's insane numbers.
Probably 4 or 5 million Splatoons.
Yeah, I'm articulating myself really well. That's insane. That's just crazy. You've never seen that before.
It's really impressive. I mean, it's really cool. The people who buy Wii U's are the people that are going to be buying 5+ games.
But despite those numbers, there are only 12 million of these consoles. In 10 years, the Wii U is going to be so collectible. This shit's going to be insanely rare. The price is going to go through the roof. I mean, that's why if you look back at my collection, I'm probably missing 2 or 3 games that I actually want. The rest, I don't care about the rest. I've got all the Nintendo first party staples, unless they've come out in the last 6 months. I've got them all because I'm I know.
What are you missing, Blue World then?
No, I got World. I think I'm missing Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE or whatever. Yeah. Waiting for that to drop.
That might not drop.
I mean,
this is a weird niche.
Best Buy does these weird sales. I'm sure Black Friday.
Oh wait, Target has a 2-for-1. Buy 2 get 1 free.
Was it probably full price? Huh?
Probably, yeah. So I mean, if you buy 3 games, then that's 33% off each one.
So with my Best Buy discount, I got the last batch I needed, Woolly World, Star Fox, Xenoblade Chronicles X, $22 a piece. You can't beat that. I'm getting tangential. This is the face. I know. That's okay.
So we're what? That was my 4th. So we got to go with your 5th.
Jesus Christ! I don't think I'm on 5th. I've done Zelda. I've done Pokemon Crystal. I've done Fire Emblem Awakening. Rippers Ridge. This is my 5th.
Yeah, it's your 5th.
Thanks for keeping track. I've had a few beers. Okay.
You went first, so.
So, we're going random here. I'm going to dip right into it here. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Black Flag.
So this game I experienced 2013. That came out, right?
Sounds right.
13. I was kind of on an Assassin's Creed. Nah, it wasn't that early.
I'm pretty sure it was a launch game for the Wii U. I know the other game was, but...
No, a 3 was.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, that might be 13 then. I thought it was a yearly at that point.
Yeah, it was 2013. Late 13. Okay. So, I had been on an Assassin's Creed kick. I remember in early 11, I played Assassin's Creed 2 for the first time. Mm-hmm. A little late to that. A lot of late to that. So was it 4 years late? Loved it. Just and less about the story, more about just the mechanics, the parkour, running around, killing people, whatever. So in 13, I kind of got on this kick where I'm I just want to play. I remember watching through all of the cinematic shorts they did for all the Assassin's Creed games. Mm-hmm. And I'm a sucker for historical. I love revisionist history. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite books as a kid, they take 19 like 30s America, like the gangsters, and not the gangstas, the gangsters. And no, what year did the Hindenburg crash?
Now we're getting into the weeds.
Oh, now I didn't know because here I am. I need to know. So,
yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
37. So yeah, the 30s, going into early 40s. Anyway, yeah, they told this whole story of how the Hindenburg actually crashed, and it was this whole crazy. I'm such a sucker for that.
That's cool.
So Assassin's Creed, I just got on this binge. I watched all the cinematic shorts, and I'm like, this is awesome. I played Assassin's Creed 3. I liked it. I know people didn't really like it coming off the Ezio trilogy, but I only played through the second one, so I didn't really have the context. I was just like, this is cool. This is like a period of history that I'm very familiar with. It was a little cheap how they did some things in that game. Like Paul Revere riding on the back of your horse as you ride through the town. Like it really cheapened some of those moments instead of like, providing imaginary or not context for these events. And it's like, oh, this is cool. It felt cheap. But I remember one of the few times I've been hyped for a game, and I ate every little bit of promotional material. I remember watching developer playthroughs on the Ubisoft channel, talking about Black Flag being developed. And I do this because I'm a huge fan of pirates. Like, I love pirate culture, pirate history. I remember I was homeschooled in 6th grade, and I would go over to your mom's house once a week for various weird little craft things, and just my mom would get me out of the house and get me to do something new with somebody else. I remember making I was really into medieval times and pirates. We were making different things, making a sword and shield, arts and crafts, whatever. But so I nothing in particular with that story. Just I remember going over there and doing pirate crafts, doing medieval crafts, weird things.
Just some nice little ephemeral knowledge to sort of set the stage just for your pirate love.
Just some good memories.
Your quest for booty.
And I remember, reading through the history of these different pirates and hearing about. Obviously, we hear about the big ones, right? Blackbeard, what the fuck ever. But you go through the history of, and so many of these guys are like unaccounted for throughout history. Like, they just disappeared. And there's speculation as to how they died or what they ended up doing or after they retired. Like, what happened to them? But like, really, a lot of these guys fell off the map.
No, I got scabies and went insane.
Whatever the case may be. So Black Flag, I was so excited to see these guys through the perspective of the assassins, and something about the main character, Edward, is so interesting because he's so neutral. He's a fucking pirate. He doesn't care about the assassins of the Templars. He's a pirate. He's out for himself. That's so interesting. Where Ezio had this very sort of holier than thou attitude,
sort of honor driven,
and yeah, he was a very exactly honor driven, but he was such a cocky bastard, and it was so different. Edward was such a
very modest pirate.
A modest pirate. I wouldn't go that far, but that game, I love the characters. I did not expect to get what I got with that game. Amazing naval combat, phenomenal characters. Edward was naval. Oh boy!
Sorry.
Here we are. And
swish.
Actually, seeing how they dove into these pirates' histories. Dude, oh my god, it was such a wet fucking dream for me. Oh my god. It was a fucking wet dream, dude. It was all my childhood, nostalgia for learning about pirates and watching these crappy fucking documentaries on History Channel.
Excuse me, but Curse of the Black Pearl is a wonderful documentary. I learned very much from Jonathan Depp's portrayal of Captain Jack Sparrow.
Jesus Christ, man. Hold on a second, let me drink.
So, do you have anything more to add to that? We gotta fucking get going.
How long have we been doing this?
2 hours, I think.
It hasn't been 2 hours. We're at an hour 23.
I mean, the hour 23 or 123 minutes.
I think we're at an hour. I honestly can't fucking tell. I don't know if we're even still recording. I don't know.
Pay no attention to the man behind the...
2 hours is our target here. So, the combat was amazing. Naval combat. Edward was a phenomenal character. Remember the first time you get on your boat, you get to jacked off for the first time, and you sail out of these this little canal you're in, these little islands. I don't know what you call it. You sail out to the open ocean for the first time out in the Caribbean, and it's fucking gorgeous, amazing. It's literally breathtaking. I remember just being I never get like this with video games either. But I like my jaw drop. I'm like, this is so awesome. This giant wave comes up, and then you get thrown into a storm. And like the physics of the ocean is so realistic. And you're experiencing it. And you're like, I was legitimately panicked. Like, I've got to do these things to try and save my ship. And I'm fighting these guys. Oh, I can drive through the typhoon to lose these ships that are after me. And it's like, it was such a rush. And I'm a pirate. This is my ship. I'm out on the freaking Caribbean Sea, man.
I love
escaping this thing.
I love when games just like take you and you get so caught up in them and you lose that like disconnect between you holding the controller and the video game happening, where instead of you holding the controller, you are on
the controller has me, man.
Yeah, it has you.
Yeah.
It's so good. Okay. But yeah, that's one of the things I've heard from people who praise Black Flag is that
best in the series.
It took the gameplay loop that the prior Assassin's Creed games had established and been like, you know what, you don't really have to like do the gameplay stuff. You can just go and be a pirate.
Yeah. I mean, it was an open world experience, and a lot of it got really mundane after a while. But
that was after Far Cry 3, wasn't it? Far Cry 2, one of the Far Cry's.
It was after Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 was 2012.
Yeah, I think Ubisoft at that point was like, you know what, let's just like really nail down this open world
and they did it really well. And it's not one of those games where the pacing was nice, because I'd take a break from the story missions and I'd go sail to a couple of uncharted islands. I'd get some fucking treasure. I'd come back.
That was Naughty Dog.
Funny guy.
I know.
Ignore dad over here. So that was really wonderful. And unfortunately, it was the last good game in the series. There hasn't been a decent entry since. And people might disagree with me, but there's a reason Ubisoft has quit the yearly output.
They saw that in sales and people getting the DLCs. And they know.
It doesn't help.
They're not stupid.
We've got these interesting places to explore. Feudal Japan is obviously the most cliche. Like, where do we want to go?
I mean, they've got literally every country at their disposal for what they could do next.
Yeah. But instead, we keep going back to fucking Victorian era fucking England. For 3 games, we go to the same place. Like, who fucking cares?
Well, I mean, they get a trilogy of the same character.
Excuse me, I got the hiccups right on this fucking microphone.
Sound like an idiot.
Woo, boy!
You sound drunk.
Spicy. Definitely not drunk. So, people are going to hate me for that, but it's one of those modern experiences for me where I get into it, and I'm like, I have that, like, instant nostalgia. Or, like, it was one of these, like, seminal experiences for me. Where it's like, especially now, where it's like, few things make me feel that way. And I know it's an Assassin's Creed game. It sounds so cheap to say, but it's like, dude, it's just one of those moments.
Dude, that's totally valid. Totally valid. It's valid because millions of people buy those games.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone gives you shit, they're part of the few people that don't buy those games.
Fair enough.
So,
number 5, my friend.
Number 5 for me.
Talk my head off, boy.
I will not. I will be short and brief because that is who I am. Number 5 for me is Metroid Fusion.
Remake of the first game. That was Zero Mission.
Zero Mission, which came out after Fusion.
Right.
Fusion, however, is the latest chronologically in the story. So every game that came out after Fusion came before it in the story.
Right. So, quick question. The 3D Metroid games.
The Prime series?
The Prime game. Are they related to the 2D Metroid games? Or just peripherally?
I mean, it's the same character. It's between Metroid... They're between Metroid 1 and 2.
So they do exist canonically?
Yes.
There's a timeline.
There's a timeline.
Okay.
Which it's Prime, then Prime Hunters, then Prime 2 Echoes, then Prime 3 Infection or whatever, the one that was on Wii also.
Other M?
No. It was
in the trilogy. Trilogy.
Anyway, yeah, those are all before Metroid 2 Return to Samus, and then Super Metroid, and then Metroid Fusion.
Okay.
Other M was also between Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion. But yeah, Metroid Fusion for me was my first introduction to the Metroidvania genre, which, as we all know, is a very, very popular genre now with indie developers, which is why I really like a lot of those indie games because
Guacamelee
is sick.
My man.
You've played Ori and the Blind Forest, not much, but like it's like one of those games.
That's what we're playing tonight.
People talk about, like just that 2D explorative, like RPG-ish game where it's like open, but like you have to get items to unlock stuff and you fight bosses and just like I'm a sucker for 2D games. I grew up playing Mega Man X, Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario World. Like these are huge like 2-dimensional games and like it's just wonderful that in 2002 or 2003 when that game came out, there was still enough to be said for like 2D games because at that point it was like was 3D or nothing, you know? Like, handheld games were the only games that you got that were still two-dimensional.
There was a brief period of time where, like, if you were putting out a 2D game, it was like, oh, this trash. Like, it was like old and outdated.
It was basically only for fighting games. Fighting games were the only games that were 2D at that point.
Right. There's a weird period of time in video game history where...
So, I think I rented Metroid Fusion before I bought it.
Game Crazy?
Game Crazy, bro. It was the only place you could rent video games.
Not video games. Handheld video games.
Well, it was the only place I rented video games because, you know, mom would go shopping.
Fair enough.
And I'd go check out Game Crazy, you know. So, Metroid. It was my first experience with Metroid as a title also. I never played Super Metroid because I was an idiot.
I was a damn fool.
And, you know, never got around to it. And Metroid has always been kind of like a black sheep in the Nintendo lineup. Like, they don't really give it that much love. I think it's because it doesn't sell very well in Japan. But, you know, there's obviously a very diehard following for Metroid.
Yeah.
And so I finally got my hands on Fusion. I was playing it, and like everything about that game was just like so completely different from any other Nintendo game. Like, with Nintendo, it's like the Disney of video games. It's all super light, and it's fun, it's cartoony, it's cute. And then you start playing Metroid, it's like you're playing Alien, the movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's dark, it's like foreboding, it's creepy, it's like, you feel like you're gonna fucking die at any second, and you're like, oh my god, what's gonna go on? And Fusion, it dialed that back. Because I've played other Metroid games since then, and like they're like a lot darker. But Fusion was a little bit lighter, had the sound, just because the sound chip in the GBA, it didn't have as much depth. You couldn't really do that much with it. You'll complain. It's bad. But the soundtrack was still really good for Fusion. And I just remember playing it, and like, it has this really cool, like, the sounds were just so much different from like a Mario. It's not like your general like Koji Kondo kind of music. It was sci-fi. Right. Nintendo doing sci-fi,
dude,
and like you're just moving around,
such atmosphere.
And like, you know, I played Mega Man before, so you know I get the run and gun kind of getting, but you can shoot, you can shoot up, you can shoot at angles. Like, this is all like new for me. Like, people have been doing this with Super Metroid, whatever. 10 years old for them. But for me, it's a brand new experience.
Yeah.
And experiencing it.
How old?
I was in middle school, so I was like 12.
12. Okay. All right.
So that was actually pretty talky game, but like it starts out with a really long intro for like a Nintendo game. Like, you leave on the ship and like you're infected. It's like this crazy, like, they have to surgically remove parts of your suit from you. And like,
that's dark.
Yeah, it's dark, and like you have this AI that's like directing you on the ship throughout the game, and like kind of you start figuring out like this AI might not be benevolent. And that's so like, that's a complex.
Spoiler.
That's a complex thing for like a kid to like figure out. Like, you think of like, oh, it's Navi, you know, telling me where to go, but it's like, this computer's telling me not to worry about things that I feel like I should be worried about.
Yeah.
And it gets kind of weird, and like, it's kind of heady. Real cool though, real fucking cool. And there's like these scientists that are like goobified, and there's zombies, and you're like, this is really dark. And then you kill them, and then you absorb their power.
I need to experience this game, and I will. I will in our upcoming series. Beer burps. We don't know what the series is going to be called. We've talked about everyday GBA, but our plan is we're going to play through all of the GBA games.
1,200 of them.
We'll go chronologically, like we said earlier, by release month.
Hopefully not talk about them as long as we talk about our top 10 games.
I doubt I'm going to have enough to say about fucking Pinobi 3D.
Dude, you always go into Pinobi.
Pinobi is a surprisingly entertaining launch title.
Is it on your top 10? They don't talk about it right now.
It is definitely on my top 10 GBA launch titles.
Valid.
So,
yeah, Fusion.
I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it soon. I'm going to have to play it.
I got it with me.
Yeah. So, guess what we're playing tonight?
We might play your sixth favorite.
I imagine that there is no way you will leave my town this weekend without us playing my number 6.
What is your number 6? Let's hear it.
Mario Kart Double Dash.
Double Dash.
You know we're getting down on this Double Dash.
We both have a lot of history with this game.
So, what is there to say about Double Dash? Nothing that hasn't already been said. So I want to get into some of the memories of this game. And a lot of these games have a lot of history with you in particular. But we haven't, gotten too deep into this.
It's almost as if I was there for a lot of the important moments in your gaming.
It's weird. Have we known each other since we were 5 years old, 6 years old?
Something like that. Well, you were. I was a little bit older.
Oh, God. Here we go.
You young buck. And I was just showing you the way, opening your eyes.
You a whopping, 13, 14 months older than me? Anyway. So, So, Double Dash. And here's the caveat here. I think Mario Kart 8 is better. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
I think we got into it earlier.
You have to fucking temper, you gotta temper all your favorites with the real good games.
It's not even that. I want to do like Mario Kart 8 justice. Such a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I mean,
So great.
Every Mario Kart game has been good in some way.
Mm-hmm. But Double Dash in particular, years of memories of this game. Obviously, middle school, us playing that game, early high school. I remember middle school in particular, we build the blanket forts in the basement or in my bedroom, and we have this little CRT we'd put in there, and we would. I remember taking the TV to the church when our moms were at the church all the time doing stuff, and I remember having that little CRT. We had the GameCube hooked up down there, and it was like we would spend like 6-7 days straight with each other, like 3 days at my house, 3 days at your house, right? And just playing through over and over, and we would play on 150cc, and we would do the not tournament but Grand Prix, and we would go through and we got to unlock everything, right? So we take turns winning, right? Switching off, we unlock everything, and we just go through it. It was so much fucking fun. The last truly great battle mode. People always say 64's got the best battle mode. I disagree.
And I would say DS had a pretty good battle mode too.
Had a really good battle mode. It did.
You just had to control with the DS, which, it did really well for what it
needed
did.
to.
But not the same without analog.
Especially not that GameCube controller. Best controller of all time.
Oh, God.
Wonderful. Maybe that's just a weird Nintendo fanboy in me.
I mean, it is, but like, those triggers, there's not been better triggers since then.
Would you get that with the half?
And like the ABXYs, that was perfect. If anything, the C stick was the weakest part of that controller.
Yeah, but you didn't need it for a lot of games. This is before the advent of first-person shooters, where you need this really.
Well, it was during the advent, and that's what made it struggle a lot on the game.
Sure, understandable. So, Double Dash, good memories. Not only middle school, playing it in high school, playing it after we graduated. We lived together. Our first house, we moved out, playing that in the garage. Drunk driver.
Yeah, first learned a wonderful game that doesn't sound as bad as you think it would be.
Yeah. Drunk driver. For any of you that don't know, Drunk driver.
Wonderful game for parties.
Yeah. So you set up your Mario Kart. Yo, Mario Kart. And everyone's got a beer. Full beer. Unopened beer. Start a race. You crack your beer. That beer has to be gone by the end of the race or else you're disqualified. You gotta finish your beer. But you cannot drink and drive. Contrary to the name of the game itself, you are not allowed to drink and drive.
You're allowed to drunk and drive.
Yeah, you can be drunk and operate a vehicle, but you cannot do both simultaneously. And what kind of monster would do that, right? So, if you fall off, you drink. You gotta put your controller down to drink. Some people say chugging your entire beer at the beginning of the race is the optimal, path to victory. I disagree.
Unless you're recording a drunk driver podcast, you don't want to have beer burps during the race.
That's true. I've had only a couple of beers tonight, and I've been trying to, burp out the side of my mouth so y'all can't hear it.
I'm telling you, it's the Blue Boar.
I think it's the pizza and fucking chicken wings, but
That could be
we're healthy individuals. So that was great. Drunk driver, and I remember going to Crater Lake, right? 2012 was right after we moved out of the bro house. We went our separate ways, and I remember going to Crater Lake, and I took my little CRT with me. I took my GameCube, and my brother and I spent the entire goddamn vacation sitting in our cabin playing Mario Kart Double Dash Battle Mode.
Just out in the woods and nature and all the beauty and wonder around you, and you're like, you know what I should be doing?
Here's the thing.
I should be Baby Mario, beating up my brother in Baby Park.
Dude. Baby Park, that's my course. No one has ever beaten my time. I'm sure Nick will try now that I've said that. No one's beaten my time. I couldn't tell you what my time is, but no one I know has beaten my time. IRL. So we spent the entire time, we went outside, we did things, we drove around. We did it enough that Crater Lake is top my list of favorite places to be. It's like Disneyland and Crater Lake. Which to people who are well traveled, that's probably really fucking boring. I don't give a shit. I love it.
West Coast, Best Coast, baby.
Best Coast. Yeah, it's literally the beach, Crater Lake, Disneyland. We were in our cabin. Everyone's out drinking, partying late at night, hanging out. Dude, we're out there laughing our asses off playing this fucking game.
Having a much better time.
A much better time. So great. So that game's awesome. Mario Kart 8 would easily be on this list if they had retained a classic battle mode.
We can only hope that the next Mario Kart brings it back.
Literally would be no work to patch in proper battle mode. And I know this is, we don't need to wax poetic. Everyone's been bitching about this for years now. It's not going to happen. Unless this is like a parting gift for Wii U owners. Like, here's a battle mode for a game that you don't play anymore. We're going to put a new one on the Switch. Whatever. So, Double Dash. I know we've got a lot of nostalgia for it together. Mm-hmm. I don't think Mario Kart made your list.
Nope.
But you're number 6.
My number 6, also a great game that I enjoyed many times with friends. And I feel like it's kind of a weird game to have on my list of like real video games.
Right.
But I actually have on here Guitar Hero 2.
Dude.
Which was a huge phenomenon.
Yep.
And Guitar Hero 1, like, it started off, and, like, people bought it. Not a lot of people bought it. Guitar Hero 2 came out. Everyone bought it.
It was unprecedented. Like, literally everybody had that game.
And to this day, if you ever want to find yourself a nice plastic doorstop, go to your local Goodwill, and you can find 6 Guitar Hero guitars.
Yeah.
Just get those sick red SGs.
Trust me, I check them every time I go. I'm looking for one in, like, near mint, so that I can play it again.
Yeah, dude, I want a USB one so I can get one of the PC ones now.
Yeah.
But dude, Guitar Hero 2, I spent countless hours playing.
Talk about being a better gamer than me. You kick my ass at that game.
Dude, I've got better rhythm. I'm better with my hands.
I'm a drummer, by the way. So
I know it's really cheesy to say, but one of the reasons I picked up a guitar was because of Guitar Hero.
Fair enough.
Like, it clicked with me. It literally clicked a lot. But it clicked with me in such a way that, like, I liked music at that point. I liked a lot of, like, rock and metal music. So, like, actually having that, like, satisfaction of pressing the fret and hitting the note and playing it and, like, getting that noise, and it's visceral.
Yeah.
You know? You hear that a lot. So. Visceral. You know? Immersive.
Oh, yeah.
But that made me want to learn to play music.
Yeah.
And, like, I'd been in band before. Playing a fucking like,
band.
I'm playing like a trombone, you know, like whatever, some brass bullshit, you know, geeky nerd shit. I want to play a guitar.
No offense.
I want to be a fucking metal guitarist. And Guitar Hero made me live that fantasy until I make that fantasy a reality.
Right. Check out Recursion. You don't have a website?
No.
Defunct and then now defunct
like
Recursion.
Like a Bandcamp, whatever. Not gonna fucking pimp that out here. Guitar Hero 2 though had fantastic songs and improved on the first. Because I played the first one a little bit, didn't really play it much. I played the second one, and it improved the mechanics of the hammer-ons and the pull-offs.
Right.
Which, you need that.
Classic.
It's all about the feel, which they've lost in like later iterations. Like Guitar Hero 2, 3 was also very good. Added some wonderful songs.
Yeah.
But after that, it got to the point where it was like XBLA became a thing, and like DLC, the beginning days of DLC. That vaunted era 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But like 2 and 3, man, like I could bring anybody over. Our friend John, who does not play video games, he would pick up Guitar Hero and play with me. And it would just be like, we play in different difficulties, and we just have a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got another wonderful memory of my buddy Jordan, who he had a PS2, and it was a hacked PS2.
Oh, yeah.
One of those fancy PS2s with a little mod chip and the CD you put in, then you opened it up, and it was still spitting. You take it out. But he had a hacked, burned copy of Guitar Hero with songs on it that were not Guitar Hero songs, but people had mashed up, fret notes and like the tempo and did everything and put the song on there so you could play songs. And I remember playing a Trivium song. Him and I played the Crusade.
Dude, oh my God. That song is a third record?
That's 7 minutes instrumental song. Yeah. And playing it on Guitar Hero was just like, it blew my mind. I got so geeky into it. I went like, specifically Guitar Hero message boards that would keep track. Like you would input your scores on these songs and be like, I'm trying to beat my personal record. I'm trying to I'm trying to do the FC, which is a full complete, which is if you don't drop the combo. You can't drop that combo. You need that multiplier. Dude, I got so deep into that game. That was like one of the last games I was actually into before my renaissance a few years ago. Because I was kind of like off that bandwagon for a while. I wasn't really keeping track of stuff.
We all fell off, man. We all fell off.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
Never again. Never again.
No, I'm back in it. I'm in for the long haul.
We need to, you know what? Tomorrow, we're going out tomorrow.
Are we going to find Guitar Hero?
We're going to find Guitar Hero. Even the game, because I don't even have a game.
You don't have the...
No, not anymore. My copy is
pennies on the dollar. That's got to be easy.
We'll find it somewhere. But we got to find the working guitar. And here's the thing. My brother and his friends, and they're 22, 23, so they're not much younger than us. But But they just had their own renaissance with Rock Band. You know, they all get together, get high, whatever. You know, pop on the old
smoke that Oregon Merrill.
Yeah, Oregon. I wouldn't know. I don't smoke. So
Not do I.
yeah, I'm a drinking lad myself.
I had my one beer. More of a pizza man, obviously.
Yeah, so you'll be burping for days. But they had their own little renaissance. But they went out, they bought the whole kit, and that's the thing was when they brought the drums in the mix and the vocals.
It's about that time.
Dude.
Okay, yeah. Recently, Guitar Hero 2 came out 10 years ago. This week, recording this.
That's crazy. That's wild. We're gonna find it tomorrow. That's on our list.
Oh yeah.
So I guess
that'd be your number 7 now, right?
my number 7. God damn, I'm sorry it's taking so long, folks. I know you all don't care. It'll be much briefer when we get into the Game Boy Advance topic.
And then when we put this in post, we'll do like a 1.25 multiplier. We'll also have Chipmunks. This will be Alvin in the top 10 list.
As if I don't talk quick enough. As if I don't enunciate properly, so y'all can't understand me anyway.
No, it's just that you meander too much. What the fuck is number 7 then?
Number 7. So, any number of things to choose from. I'm going to go with Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim, and that might be a fucking...
You might
Can you see this here? Skyrim.
It's that black box.
This is the Elder Scrolls anthology that comes with all of the games.
And you've only played Skyrim.
I've only really played Skyrim. I played Morrowind a little bit.
Fair.
But it's such a beautiful box that I had to pick it up.
Fair.
I had to pick it up.
Coming up on a 5-year anniversary here.
Yeah, they just released the special edition, whatever. Waiting for the modding community to jump back into it. Now that we have the new architecture, RAM allowance, whatever. So, modding community should, fingers crossed.
Skyrim. I remember when you got this game. We were living together.
We're living together.
So how about you remind me? Because I remember this was like kind of another renaissance for you.
This was the beginning of the Renaissance. So, brief history. I have to preface this with something that won't be brief, even though I say it will be brief.
Besides the whole GameCube in high school thing.
So in high school, I kind of got out of video games. In middle school, I'm going way back here.
God,
Jesus Christ, here we go. I collected all these retro consoles. I was super into retro consoles. I bought all of them. I had my little metal rack from Target with my little CRT on it. Had all my systems all my Nintendo systems. And CD Game Machine, just as when games were dirt fucking cheap. I don't know how CD Game Machine stayed in business. You go in there and you walk out with a stack of games for $20. You know, it was just flying off the shelves, man.
Easy come, easy go.
Like $12 Pokemon games, shit like that. But anyway, so I had stacks of NES games and stacks of SNES games. And 64, that's when I really got into 64, was after the GameCube came out. In high school, junior year, I want to say, it might have even been senior year. I hadn't touched the consoles in years, except for GameCube, which I had traded away and gotten back. Mm. That's the only console that I really played, if at all. Other than the PS2, it's the only game we played up until I moved out at 18. Mm. Aside from handhelds, I always had modern handhelds. I bought every handheld. So I was 17 or so, and I sold everything. I just took a bucket of shit to CD Game Exchange, got $90 fucking or whatever they gave me. Totally fucked me out of.
Which is a windfall from CD Game.
Oh yeah, that was like
several. That's 9 buckets.
Yeah, right. So that's funny. So totally screwed myself. Got rid of my entire collection, which was sizable. Mm-hmm. Not where I'm at now, but sizable.
Yeah, especially for someone who hadn't moved out, hadn't got a real job yet.
Right, and I was just scratch babysitting money and working the paper one day a week. Just going to Goodwill and finding and it was so. I sold everything, and by 2011, I started collecting retro stuff again. Mm. This is right before the retro market boomed again, and you couldn't get deals anymore. But I was still able to go into Goodwill and picking out. My girlfriend would come home with a stack of Super Nintendo games, and I would keep the ones I wanted, and take the rest of fucking CD Game Exchange or whatever. I remember going in, and this was my routine for a while. Goodwill, stack of retro games, take what I wanted, boom, CD Game Exchange, get my cash, boom, go to Nexus, grab some Magic cards. That was my fucking routine, right?
Yeah, nice little. That's a good route. That's all one street.
Yeah, it's all right there. So, but Skyrim for me was this period of time where I hadn't played a modern game. I hadn't played 360 at all. At all. I had GameCube and PS2. And
maybe like a pickup game of Call of Duty at that point for me. Like
right, like
I played like Halo, like the newer Halos. But like nothing new basically. Like PS2 it fell off.
Yeah. And which is weird, but we just got into other things in high school.
We couldn't afford it. Like our parents didn't buy us consoles at that point.
No, it's like you're too old for video games, and like we couldn't buy our own yet, so it was like this weird thing.
We got a brand new like 5 years ago. So.
Yeah. So
and they're still holding on?
So that was weird. So for me in 2011, I remember hearing about Skyrim. I remember like this was at the beginning of like, I had been on Twitter since 2008, but by 10, 11 is like when it really blew up. It became this mainstream platform for people. And you check your trending topics and like, so Skyrim was that first game that like kind of went viral. It was getting insane reviews. Everyone was talking about it. It was trending on Twitter. People that I didn't even know played video games were talking about it. And I felt like I was missing something. I was so desperate to be like a part of this whole zeitgeist. I needed to get in and experience it myself. So I remember reading reviews about it, and I had just gotten a 360 just a few months prior for like Lego Star Wars and Assassin's Creed. Like, just whatever. Like, Castle Crashers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking great game.
That, almost.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude.
Damn.
Dude.
Let it
go on. Sorry. Okay. Caught me back.
So fucking, so I just like felt so compelled to go like, I need to experience this. Now I have a 360 now. Why not? Why the fuck not?
Yeah. You have a 360 game.
Yeah. So I remember being out with my old man, we met him at Best Buy, trying to find a Christmas present for my mom. And I remember saying like jokingly like, hey man, buy this for me. Right? And he's like, what is that? Oh, tell me about it. It was one of those moments where he's like kind of interested in video games. It was like the pull of his own past, like something everyone is talking about.
He's popular.
He's
Renaissance.
Like, huh? What's that about? What do you do? Huh? I'm telling him about it. What I knew based on reviews, I had never played an open world RPG like this. I didn't even know this game just like opened all the doors for me at the age of 19.
The closest thing you played before that was like Wind Waker.
Or like Spider-Man 2. But that wasn't an RPG, it was just an action.
Oh yeah, it was open world
Action game. So like, the idea of this open world RPG, like, it just was so revolutionary for me. In 2011, I was so behind the times. So I was telling him about it, and he's like, yeah, why not? That's really weird for my dad to like, he'll get in those moods every once in a while. He'll be like, let's fucking do, like, while I have the butt, spend a bunch of money on you, right? But at the time, it was like so weird. I was like, totally joking. We were there for my mom, and I'm like, give me this game, man. Because if I was going to buy it, like I was walking out of the store with Skyrim. I remember my old man bought it for me, and I was like, that was super fucking cool. I remember going home. I didn't even have an HDTV at this point. I had like a fucking 40-some inch CRT. Remember the revolving door of CRT TVs we had at that bro house before any of us got HDTVs?
Before we got we never had it in the front room, but I remember at the next place you had the rear projection. Yeah. Like, it was never a flat panel, though. I don't even know the first time I had a flat panel. It was a while.
So Skyrim I got in November. I got an HDTV for Christmas at the end of December. I got my little 720p 32-inch.
So you had a whopping, 50 days playing Skyrim before you actually played it.
Yeah, exactly.
How was the text in that game on CRT?
Fucking
miserable.
Abysmal. I played it for about a week, and I was like, this is fine. I just stopped. I didn't play it.
Yeah.
And I remember when I got my HDTV, like I was so like, I need to experience something. And at the time, Skyrim looked amazing, which is so crazy because like that game did look old at the time, but I hadn't played a modern game.
Still looked pretty good for the 360. Like there were not a lot of like visual showcase games. Like it was all just Bloom and Brown.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. But for me, I'm going from PS2. I'm going from Guitar Hero and Dragon Ball Z Infinite World. Favorite Dragon Ball Z game. Really criminally underrated. People hate that game. Don't know why. Fucking love it. And fucking replaying PS1 games the 2 years prior to like Skyrim.
Going through your renaissance of playing retro games. Like, this is the first like AAA 360 game that you actually caught your interest and actually like showcased what the system could do.
Yeah. It was so like mesmerizing. John would just sit in my room and drink beer and watch me play. Like, our friend John, who has no history with video games whatsoever.
Except for watching people play it.
Except for watching them play it because all of his friends are gamers, and he is like, fuck, here we go again. He would, like, come into my room and like, sit down and want to watch me play it because it was, like, it was beautiful. It was breathtaking almost. Like, it was just... So that game for me, my memories of getting lost in that world and immersing myself in the lore and just the world building and like being so, for the first time ever, being so into like, I want to fucking get married and I want to like build my own home and like I want to go raid these dungeons and like put trophies of my victories in my, you know, around my dungeon at home, you know, like just like dumb little things that you get into. Not to mention the story was great. Conquering the land of Skyrim, becoming the Dragonborn. It just like was so epic is the only word, right?
That was like the first game that you played really that was like a create your own character one too, wasn't it? It was like not an established story. It was like you lived the story. So I know that's something you've told me. Like it was like one of the things that you really like about those kinds of games.
And that's why I love open world games now. Is like I love an open world game that has their like a really great character and great world building. And Skyrim's a little outdated now. You look back at it, and especially after playing something like The Witcher, which I consider for my list, but too recent. I'm not sure. There are better open world games, but something just about the music. When I hear that music, dude, I shed a tear. I get so emotional when I hear that music.
Music is really important in video games.
It's just epic is the only word. It's so big and so I'm excited to jump into the remaster, like I said, but that game will forever hold a special place in my heart, and I can't wait for Elder Scrolls 6, and I hope they can do it again. I hope in 6 years when we get that game, I hope they can do it all over again, you know. So, anyway, number 7.
Number 7 for
probably
me.
not Skyrim, right?
Not Skyrim.
Anywhere close, probably.
Maybe.
Okay, all right.
Closer than you think.
Okay.
Because you experienced Skyrim on the Xbox. I experienced a game on the Xbox also. I experienced Halo 2.
Halo, there we go.
Halo 2, which I was a bit late to Halo. Because I didn't get Xbox until maybe a year or two after I had a GameCube. So maybe 2003. Got an Xbox, got Halo because I played it at friends' houses. I finally wore down my mom. She wasn't too big on like the whole shooter thing, but I think she just sort of gave in because, you know, I was like a teenager at that point. So I was like, you know.
So edgy.
Or like, you know, I was a teenager. I was like 11 or 12. But, you know, like, I was ready for that.
Right.
And I eventually got it. And I got the special edition Halo, which came with like director commentary, or not director commentary, but like it had like a special, it had like a menu where you could go and like watch videos of like the developers talking about the game, and they had E3 footage of Halo 2,
right,
which was not out yet. Which I believe Halo 2 came out in 2004, but I just remember watching that, and after playing Halo so much, and I love the single player, and I played the multiplayer a little bit, just like local kind of stuff, we're doing co-op stuff. That was a really fun game. But I would watch that video about teasing Halo 2 over and over and over.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah, because this is before I had strong enough internet. This is before like video streaming online. So like I saw this footage of a new game that was going to be coming out. I was like, this got me stoked. And like I was getting Game Informer at that time. And like I would see stills, but like seeing the video was huge, and like hearing the sounds, and like Halo 2 from Halo 1 was actually a pretty big graphical leap for like a single console kind of generation.
Yeah.
So I'd watch that stuff and I'd see like the way everything glowed, and it was like when blooming, you know,
right,
that whole graphic craze first started. And I was just watching it over and over, and I was actually getting super stoked. And Halo 2, I remember.
You guys did own an original Xbox?
Yes.
Okay.
The only games we really had, I remember having Halo and Ninja Gaiden.
Really?
Yeah. And
your mom didn't like the shooting of Halo, but Ninja Gaiden was like totally fine.
I don't remember how. I think Nat got him some, but you know, whatever. You know, the complete tertiary. Halo 2 came out, and I got it the day it came out.
Really?
And I played through it.
When's the last time you could say that about a game? Dude, it's launch day, baby.
Launch day, like
I was fucking there.
I think last time I got a game at launch was Pokemon X, but
okay.
Halo 2, like I beat it in 2 days, and I was so stoked, and I played it, and I beat it over and over and over.
2 days. That's the longest Halo game they've made. 2 whole
days.
The
stuff they added from Halo to Halo 2 was just, it was mind blowing. Like it was just the littlest things that you don't even think of. You could dual wield certain guns.
Yeah.
You could use that energy sword that you saw the elites using in the first game. You're like, what the? You could play as an elite, and half of the story you're playing as the Arbiter, who was like the dude that the Covenant blamed for the loss of the original Halo. And like you're on the second Halo. So much cool stuff. And like landing on Earth and you're seeing the Covenant have like found Earth, and they're like trying to fuck shit up on Earth. You're like, no, not here, dude.
I am Master Chief, 12 feet tall. Hear me roar.
It introduced so much cool stuff, and like there was like a civil war going on in the enemy forces, and it added another layer with like, so there's the Flood, but then there's these Forerunner like ancient robot technology that's like trying to defeat the Flood also. And dude, it just added a whole another layer to the story. And I was so geeking out on that sci-fi stuff, playing Metroid Fusion.
Right.
And I'm playing Halo, and like there's all this like sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
This is so fucking cool.
So, have you played the remake on the Xbox?
I did play the anniversary edition of Combat Evolved.
Right.
And dude, triggering back and forth between the like original graphics and like the remake graphics was
super
crazy.
satisfying.
It's crazy.
It was like,
because I played Halo on a CRT.
right.
Because it was, that was before, HDMIs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, like, seeing it, like, on an LCD is, like, very different from seeing it on a CRT.
Yeah.
But seeing the remake captured the
Switching
original
back
license
and
so
forth.
good, yeah.
Hitting that select button, it was so satisfying. Like, just every new area I entered, select. You hit it, you just look around, and it was a very interesting experience.
Right.
Guess what we're playing tonight? Halo 2. So I played through, I beat the first Halo game. My only experience with Halo growing up was like multiplayer, your house, a few other friends' houses. Never played the story.
That chasing you with a grenade.
Yo, okay. Yo, this is like a most vivid Halo memory. Playing in your mom's basement. It had to have been like middle school, early high school.
Yeah, I mean.
Maybe I was 14, maybe. And playing video games with your brother, who I'd only ever played sports games with. So this was like new. We're playing fucking a shooter, we're a sci-fi game with that, right? It's so weird. I underestimated him. I thought I was gonna come in here, I was gonna fucking whoop some ass, we shoot some motherfuckers, would be, no big deal.
You thought.
Hit Mike again. This guy is chasing me. Oh, excuse me, I'm chasing him initially. I'm chasing your brother. And I'm thinking, I got this guy cornered, right? I'm shooting at him. This fucker throws a grenade at me, but he overshoots me, right? He fucking misses me. I'm thinking, no big deal. He starts shooting at me. He's chasing me now. This fucker chases me backwards into the grenade he just thrown over my head. He throws it over me, chases me back into it, and I fucking explode. And I remember just being like, that was the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. You schooled me, man. He fucked me up. That was so like...
That's so funny. I love that because it's like,
dude.
If you play any shooter now, that's like that's Babby's first move.
Right.
But just the way that tricked you and you have that distinct memory, I fucking love
right.
that.
And it's like,
that.
I'm still not a shooter guy. I don't play a lot of shooters.
Oh, not me either.
And so playing Halo, like, this is one of my first experiences with a first-person shooter. And yeah, just that move for the first time. And it's like, dude, he fucking got me. I got. And it was like your brother, like king of NCAA fucking football, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is getting my goat in my sci-fi game. And dude, you got me, man. I got. That's fucking great.
And I'll always have like a place in my heart for the Halo series. Like I really like the stories. I've read a lot of the books. Like I'm not as like geeky about it as you are with Star Wars, but I would say that's like kind of like my Star Wars.
I get it.
Halo series.
You're more of a fantasy guy, though. I mean, Star Wars is fantasy. It's fantasy.
I would say Star Wars is fantasy.
Sci-fi.
Halo's sci-fi though.
Halo's definitely sci-fi.
But like they gave me a taste of what sci-fi could be. Like, very interesting, really cool characters.
I feel like in the future, once
we have Halos and Spartans and Cortanas.
I wasn't going that far in the future.
Oh.
I was going maybe a few months in the future.
Oh.
Cortana, though.
Mm.
I was going to say, once we've established this podcast a little bit, I know this is totally off the rails. We've been doing this for 2 hours and 2 seconds or so. We're getting close. We're getting fucking close, man. We're 2.5 hours, I think, is good. All the pods I listen to.
3 more games.
About 2.5. We're going to get there.
You got 2 more games. Or 3 more games.
But in the future, when this pod settled in, I want to talk about video game literature. Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I read the book. They
actually did books for the Assassin's Creed.
Dude, because I was so enthralled with Edward and his story and him as a character. I read his book and got all this extra backstory and seeing what happened before the game and after the game and just, expanding that universe was so great. It was such a well-written book. It was actually enjoyable. It wasn't just, maybe it was tainted by my love for the game.
I can't say that all the Halo books were very good.
I can't imagine. But they're like video game tie-in books.
Well, I mean,
they can't all be good, right?
One of the books is literally just recapping the first game in written form.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work. Like,
Well-
it does not translate into like a word for word redo, you know.
My biggest gripe with when I played the remake this last year was like, you didn't get a lot of the story. Like, you got some of it.
I still think that you weren't paying very much attention.
Maybe I wasn't.
Or you're more used to like a
Maybe I
more
wasn't.
direct storytelling, but there was a lot of story in that game.
I mean, I got the basic gist, but like I wanted.
I mean, it's hard not to. I mean, you're
So I
like,
look at- yeah.
oh, I'm on an alien thing.
But
I'm on a Halo.
that first game was basically just like gun, hallway, hallway to gun.
I'll play it with you, and I'll give you the lowdown.
I've
I'll
tried
punch
to-
it out for you.
I beat that first one.
I'll let my exuberance and love for the game rub off on you.
We'll see. Well, maybe play some Halo 2 this weekend before we leave.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
How about your number 8?
Are we at number 8?
Yeah, we're
okay,
on
we
8.
gotta power fucking through. So, damn, I'm on number 8. I got 4 more games to talk about. No, I got 3 more games.
You
Okay.
got 3.
I'm
If
looking
you
for
were
this
going in order, this would be a lot easier for you.
Fuck you. Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 2.
I remember
So, I am a goddamn Star Wars fan. Star Wars was my first love. I remember growing up watching the trilogy. It's the earliest I can remember watching these movies. Great memories with my cousins, Josh and Jaren. Jaren was a huge fucking Star Wars nerd. We'd watch the movies, we'd play the video games, we'd read the books, we'd read the comics, we'd create our own characters and write our own, novels. We'd start our own novels. We write these stories with our own characters.
There's some sick Star Wars fanfics.
Oh my god! Seriously though.
Oh yeah.
We would stage our own lightsaber battles.
Just some choreography.
And yes, absolutely. My cousins, my aunt Missy would film us. This dinky little digital camera in their backyard.
That was your first foray into video editing. I remember that.
Absolutely. I was 11 years old when I first downloaded Adobe After Effects Trial. I got on CS3.
Kind of bit earlier than that.
Let me take a look. Let me take a quick gander. I'm pretty sure it was CS3.
Dude, yeah. Dude, that makes sense. That was a hot second.
And I remember getting a trial, and I remember like you couldn't just was CS3. That was 2008.
Yeah, dude, that was recent. I'm telling you. It might have been before like CS.
Oh. Nah, it was definitely CS.
It was probably just been Creative Suite.
Anyway, yeah. So way back, but I remember like it's back in the day where you couldn't just like nowadays if you remove a program from your computer, like generally, like I have programs I use the trial for. You can like erase it and get a new trial without any hassle, right? Mm-hmm. Adobe, like when your 30 days was up, if you uninstalled it, they would know, right? There was this file tucked away. That stayed on your computer after you uninstalled the program. And I didn't know like how to work the inner workings of a PC. So I'd be like, Dad, my trial's up. And he'd go and he'd find this little file. Just whatever. Just like something in the directory that they don't delete and you uninstall a program.
Right.
Happens all the time.
Some DLL.
But he'd go find it, and he'd delete it, and I get my new 30-day trial. And it was a full trial, too. It's I'm like 11 years old. And don't worry, Adobe. I've been a Creative Cloud subscriber for 3.5 years now. Okay? I'm a diligent consumer. I pay you every fucking month. You're getting my cash money.
I'm reporting this video.
And because I'm not about that hack life, but dude, those trials, man. I make choreograph these videos. And anyway, all this to say, Star Wars, one of the biggest and most like constant, like, avenues of creativity and entertainment, and it's like
You're a
been with me
fan.
my whole fucking life.
You're a fan.
I'm a die-hard fan.
Through and through. You're a sweaty fan.
I'm so sweaty. It's so hot.
Star Wars kid over here.
I'm dehydrated. I'm chafing. It's so, oh God, we're at 210 right now. We're going to do it. Battlefront 2. Did everything Battlefront did, but better. You got to play as Jedi. But you got to actually experience these battles. The soundtrack was awesome. The effects were awesome.
It's the one where you could fight on the Clone World planet.
Yeah.
In the rain. I remember that.
Yeah.
We're playing that with you. There's some cool levels in that game.
Yeah. And space battles, dogfights. Dude, everything about it was fucking... You experienced Star Wars the closest you possibly could to experiencing these movies.
Had a co-op campaign too, didn't it?
Co-op campaign,
Bruh.
fucking awesome.
That's the way to play.
Played that game for years and years. After it wasn't relevant anymore, still played it, dude. Going through playing the Galactic Conquest mode, where you play through the story mode from the beginning of the Clone Wars to the fall of the Empire. Going through and playing the... they had this board game mode. You went through, you conquer different planets, and it was at a war, the two sides. It was like a little board game. Yeah, man, just playing through that, my cousin, my brother, all my different friends, whatever, like, dude. It was like the definitive Star Wars experience. If you were experienced, if you're a Star Wars fan like that, there is no alternative. That's Battlefront 2 or bust. And it just, so much nostalgia. I can still go back and play that game and just like the sounds of that game, and not just the Star Wars sound, because obviously Star Wars is so iconic. The sound design is
it takes you there
all time.
Yeah,
but just like the proprietary stuff for the sounds that some of these droids made, that the menu, scrolling through the menu, like triggers me. Like it's insane. Like no other game can really. And so fingers crossed, EA, don't fuck us, Battlefront 2, please, God. You know it's not going to be great. They have a blueprint for a perfect game. Yeah. Retexture that fucking game.
Yeah, and
perfect game.
I've heard a lot of stuff about the flying in the new Battlefield game. That could be like enough for a standalone like Rogue Squadron kind of thing.
Really? That would be cool.
Which would be cool because especially with like Rogue One coming out, like that could easily be like a game that comes out next summer. Just like take a little bit.
That could be a cool potential VR experience.
Oh, well, they're doing the Star Wars VR thing.
Are they?
Yeah. They're doing a couple. Well, there already is a Star Wars experience that's being worked on that's like an X-Wing piloting thing.
Really?
And then there's another one too.
Part of the reason I love that game so much was like, I know the Star Wars prequels, we don't need to get into that, but I love them. I was a fucking kid. I was 7 years old when Phantom Menace came out. For me, it was like Jedi and lightsabers and fucking crazy special effects.
Mace Windu looking like a fucking badass. He had horns in his face. That's crazy.
No, not Mace Windu.
Not Mace.
You're getting confused. Oh, Maul.
I'm thinking M. I just went M.
Yeah. Darth Maul.
Darth Mace. You know, Mace. Purple lightsaber and the Samuel L. Jackson and the horn face.
Mace Windu is Emperor Snoke. Not Emperor Snoke. Supreme Leader Snoke. Emperor fucking Snoke. Same difference.
What kind of Star Wars fan are you?
Oh, God. Don't get me started on Force Awakens. Enjoyed it?
The Foreskin Awakens.
A lot of fucking issues.
I got anything to add for Battlefield or
Battlefront? I feel like I was just about to say something and I totally lost it. What did I say?
You're talking about being a fan of the remake trilogy or the prequel trilogy.
Oh, so part of the reason that like that Battlefront was such a phenomenal series was the prequels, as fun as I thought they were as a kid, they're not great movies by any means. Like, you really got to experience the Clone Wars. You got to get into the nitty gritty and see these little battles and see all these things. The story with these other Jedi happening before Order 66. And like, you got to live the whole war out. I felt like I was a part of that war. And so it made these movies. And maybe the reason I thought these movies were so great as a kid was that, like, I always say my least favorite part of Star Wars are the trilogies. Mm-hmm. I'm about the expanded universe. I'm about the video games. I'm about all these other things that made me feel like I was a part of these movies. So maybe that's why, that is why I love those games. Maybe that's why I love the movies so much, despite them being garbage.
Yeah.
It's because that game, like, I experienced the entire war, man. Fucking whatever. Fucking great. Number 8
for me.
Where you at?
For me, I had to go for WarioWare Touched.
Oh, don't get me started on this game.
I won't. I'm just gonna do it all myself. WarioWare for me was one of those weird games. I don't even know what possessed me to get this game. I don't remember if I saw a review and it was like, "Oh, you get this game," or I saw like gameplay footage somewhere. I was watching G4 or something. It was like that weird time, DS came out.
Yeah.
I got it 2005, 2006. I had this game and I had like Mario Kart. Didn't have a lot of DS games, but I remember this game pulled me in just immediately. And I think it was kind of like Guitar Hero kind of softened me up to rhythm games.
Right.
And WarioWare's not really a rhythm game, but it has that kind of like, you're tapping, like it's the touch, so it's using touchscreen a lot. So there's a lot of like tapping kind of games, but it was like the art style and just like the characters. Mm-hmm. And it was the frantic, like, everything is different all the time gameplay. Yeah. And you have to be paying attention. You have to be like, you get so into the zone. Like, you play that game and you just keep playing. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. You look up and it's been 2 hours. You're like, what happened?
So that's kind of a precursor to like modern smartphone gaming. Touchscreen, really bite size. Like it needs to constantly keep your attention, so it's always changing. Like,
yeah, a little bit. I've never played a game like WarioWare
it's
on a
very
smartphone though.
Distinct. But just as far as like the game was designed to just, like you said, constantly be different and constantly just be wild. And it's like,
and it's crazy because there was 2 WarioWare games before it came out on DS. There's 2 Game Boy Advance games, but it didn't hit its stride until DS, and that's when that form and that like touchscreen, it married so perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Like the WarioWare Touch was like made. That WarioWare as a concept is perfect for the DS, and it exemplified why that was actually like a good idea for a handheld. And like before, smartphones were like really, a thing. It was like 3 or 4 years. It was 2 years before iPhone.
Oh, longer than that. That's one.
iPhone 2007. It was 3 years before iPhone.
It was 07.
Yeah, we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
And DS came out in 2004. So like, smartphones were not a thing. They were an idea.
Right.
But that touchscreen, man, like just those games were just so phenomenal. I remember like all the characters, and you got Jimmy, you got 9-volt, 16-volt. Dude,
I don't remember any of the characters. Not
Oberon,
a single one of them.
Dude, I don't remember those characters. Cat and Anna, Ashley. Oh man, the songs in that game are so phenomenal. The mini games, like they're just so quirky and goofy and weird. Like that's like kind of that's a tentpole for me.
You know what? I spent every day in 7th grade playing that game on the bus in the morning, diligently awaiting Super Smash Bros. DS. Never got it, Nintendo. Never fucking got it.
Well, you got
WarioWare held me over.
You got Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS.
At that point, I didn't give a shit because I had
still
real
bought
Smash
it, though.
Bros. I did only because I had to wait fucking
3 months.
3 months to get like.
I happily bought that game, and I do not regret it.
No, we had some fun times. Like it was
Smash Run was tight.
Smash Run was really cool.
It wasn't as tight as any of the times I had with WarioWare. I wish there was a 3DS game, but WarioWare is kind of like not a thing anymore.
It's like Nintendo Shovelware.
But did they have it? Did they have a WarioWare on the Wii U? I feel like it's just one of those things.
Yes,
like,
they did.
They kind of Paper Mario'd it, like it just sort of. I remember I played Smooth Moves like I want to say one time. Everybody leaves, but
Smooth Moves. That's the one on Wii U.
That's the one on Wii.
What's Wii U?
What's on Wii then?
Maybe that's no. I'm looking at the Virtual Console.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Was it Game and Wario?
Game and Wario. Or was that on Wii? Dude, I don't know.
It was Wii U. Game and Wario was Wii U.
If I could Paper Mario'd it.
It's one of those games. It's actually kind of hard to find and expensive now.
But I do need to get Rhythm Heaven because apparently that is the WarioWare that WarioWare didn't end up becoming.
Really?
Yeah, and it was a downloadable 3DS game that is Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix because it was a Game Boy Advance Japan only. It was a Game Boy game and it was a Wii game, and the Mega Mix takes like the best of all those series and puts them on the 3DS.
Curious.
But it's a little more rhythm based, but also has like the quirky mini games. So that's just what I've heard. Very interested in actually checking it out. Been putting it off. WarioWare Touch.
You'll get there.
I played for
really quick game. And now
it's quick, but like I would actually go back and I would do like the challenges, and I would be like, I want to see how long I can play this mini game because I like this mini game a lot. So I was like, Craig 3, you do the boss battle levels and you try to do them like on the higher difficulties. Dude, that fucking game was phenomenal. Yeah. It was a wonderful game.
Really
great handheld experience.
Like I said, got me through my 45-minute bus rides in the morning. Every morning.
Perfect.
My DS. Loved it. So.
Number 8.
Number 9.
Number 9.
It's so fucking close. Super Smash Bros.
Edging.
Melee. And I put Melee on here. Sort of the default go-to. A lot of nostalgia for it. Come on. First game I got on my GameCube when I got it in 7th grade. Played through that game, tried to collect all the trophies, unlock all the characters. Just every morning before school, I'd wake up an hour before I had to. Every morning before school. I'd get up at like 6 in the morning. I'd play the game for an hour. 7 o'clock rolls around. I'd fucking go to the bathroom. I'd eat my cereal. I'd do whatever I had to do. I'd come back and I'd play it for like 15, 20 minutes before I had to go catch the bus, right? And I'd come home. I'd get my homework done as quick as I could. And I'd go straight to Melee. And it's just so weird because it's not really a single-player game. It's not known for its single-player experiences.
Right.
But like, I devoured that game. As I got older, you play with people. Fucking great. How many times have we just gone fucking head-to-head playing with all the dudes? I mean, nothing I can say about it is going to be like revolutionary. Everyone's heard everything there is to say about this game. Right? But I put Double Dash on there because it was like just the memories of my brother playing that game and going at sibling rivalry, like same with like the Mario Kart games and Dragon Ball Z games and whatever. It would just be us yelling at each other in the bedroom, like, you motherfucker, and going at it Smash Brothers. And the new Smash Bros is like the definitive experience. It's got the biggest roster. You got 8-player Smash. You got full HD graphics. It's like it's GameCube controller was brilliant. Oh my god! Like I remember before that game came out, I said like, excuse me, I'm gonna have to like actually go buy one of these shitty knockoff GameCube controllers because I can't play this with a normal controller. Mm-hmm. It has to be GameCube.
Yeah, you pick up that GameCube controller and you immediately know how to control your character.
One of the few games I bought at PRGE, Super Smash Bros. N64. You want to know why? Because I just bought a motherfucking GameCube N64 adapter, so now I can play that shit with a real controller. Wonderful.
And like my first foray into Smash Bros. Was on the N64, and that's why I got Melee for Christmas. Because I played 64.
I remember playing it at your house, and that's one of my...
And dude, Smash on 64, like the noises are on point.
Yeah. I remember that game. I never actually really got to play that game because I'd always be the odd man out whenever you had people over. And I was like the young, I was a grade below you guys, so I'd always get pushed to the side while you guys played. So I'd get like one round in and then I'd pass the sticks and watch you guys for fucking 2 hours. And so I don't really have that repertoire with that.
That sounds about right, though.
It really does. But Melee, it's just like I said, this one that default. We've got great memories with Project M. Remember before Smash Wii U came out or 3DS came out, I got the Project M on the Wii. Mm-hmm. We got that set up and we're playing that, and that was like
kind of revisiting that closer to Melee mechanics.
Oh, it's like that is like the definitive version of Smash Bros. If you want to play competitively, like I think it beats out Brawl, or beats out Melee. It turns Brawl into the game it should have been. And Brawl was great. I think it's on your list, isn't it?
Oh, it might be. Might be getting that directly next.
Let's fuse this together here.
Yeah. So for your number 9 was Smash Melee. My number 9, coincidentally, turns out to be Smash Brawl.
Boom.
And everything you said about Melee kind of applies to Brawl too, because for me, Melee introduced a very cool new thing. Especially you're talking about playing by yourself. I played Smash 64 by myself, and that the single player on that was very limited. Like you had break the targets and you had board the platforms. Which, in Melee, obviously, there wasn't board the platforms, which is, heartfelt lost. But at Adventure Mode, which is a new single-player, campaign mode, where it introduced all this, cool, there would be, actual levels in between, you fighting off all the different Kirby iterations, or you fighting off, a giant Donkey Kong, which is just, at that point, was a throwback to the original 64 version. But there would be levels where you're oh, Mushroom Kingdom, and you're just, going around, you're jumping on, Koopas and Goombas, and you're breaking blocks, and it's this is Smash Bros, but I'm playing a Mario game, and now I'm fighting all these fucking Yoshis, and now I'm running to beat the finish before the time runs out. It's just this really, really cool, basically an arcade game built in to your Smash Bros. It was if I saw Smash Bros Melee at an arcade, I wouldn't blink an eye. That is such an arcade game through and through. And then my own personal, favorites was Home Run Contest. I spend the most time on Melee.
Oh yeah.
But then Brawl.
Dude.
Which, unfortunately, I never owned a Wii. Until recently.
Real quick.
Right?
Let's preface this. We both acknowledge, all you Melee fans out there, Brawl had its shortcomings. Tripping was terrible. Game was too slow. Didn't matter. It was still Smash Bros.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about competitive, because I've never been a competitive Smash player.
Right.
I'm better than you are. But
marginally so. We go head-to-head on Melee. Melee.
I don't know what
head-to-head.
I don't know what your margins are.
Head-to-head.
Light years. Streets ahead.
Oh my God.
But Brawl with a single player, specifically Subspace Emissary, that was huge for me.
Yep.
And my first experience with it was playing with you.
Yep.
And I remember going through and
was this during high school still when we played it together?
I think at first, and then more when you moved out with John.
Yep. You'd walk over. We lived 2 buildings away from each other.
Right.
And we'd just walk over to my place, and we put in an hour or two into Subspace Emissary.
Because we tried playing Halo, but you'd get bored and not pay attention, so I'd be like, well, fuck it, let's play Subspace, because we know that we both like this.
We never beat Subspace.
Did we not? I thought we did.
You didn't beat it. Because that last world, you have to go through this insane map where you go through all of them, like this big, like it gets really convoluted at the very end. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It just like, it's like you need like a guide. We just never did. We never finished it. That's what we're playing tonight.
One of the many. But yeah, Brawl for me, like, it had really cool new characters. It was beautiful. Yeah. Like the new Smash Bros. Is the same engine that Brawl was on.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Just higher res textures and everything.
Yeah.
But I just have so many fond memories of both of those games. But like I was being kind of like when I was putting together my list, I was like, I've already got a GameCube game. Gotta do shouts out to the Wii.
Yeah.
And the new Smash, like I really like the new Smash.
Yeah.
But its shortcomings really keep it from it being like a favorite game for me. Like its single player is very lacking. It's got a really cool home run contest. I like the home run contest, but the single player modes are like when you're playing through fighting a bunch of enemies. It just feels really weak. Smash Run was cool on the 3DS.
Yeah.
That scratched that itch that I had from adventure mode and from Subspace Emissary, it being like a weird like platformer.
But then
kind of like Metroidvania kind of thing.
Include that on the fucking...
You couldn't do it on the big
bullshit.
screen.
You absolutely couldn't.
Because everyone's running around doing their own thing. You couldn't. It wouldn't be the same.
Even if it was two-player. Even two-player.
No.
One person on the gamepad, one person on the TV.
Nope.
Even that.
Nope.
Because I played one-player Smash Run all the time. That's the only mode I played.
I only ever played it multiplayer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was not nearly fully fledged enough for it to be like a single-player thing.
That was what I did before bed every night, waiting for Smash U to come out. Was I just Smash Run it up, play that for an hour before bed, and
I played Smash Run for like hours, but it was always like me and like 3 other dudes, 2 other dudes. Man, that was a great multiplayer kind of thing. It was like this roguelite kind of thing where you're just trying to like get yourself strong, kind of use all these moves, like
it's interesting.
OP, and then you have to battle it out or race the finish or like do something, Smash Adventure style.
Even online, like Nintendo obviously is really well known for their superb online experience.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, single player Wii U was kind of weak, and like
it was
a weird Mario Party kind of board game thing. I tried it one time and it was like really confusing. I didn't really get it. I just don't have enough nostalgia for it yet.
Yeah, I'll play that mode with my little brother who's 7 years old. I'll play that with him, and he loves that, and so that's fun. But it's like Sakurai's like reasoning for not including a Subspace Emissary sort of campaign mode is bullshit. He's like, oh well, we make this and then the cutscenes get leaked, 2 months early, and then it gets spoiled for everybody, so we decide not to do it. Fuck you. That's a bullshit fucking line of reasoning. That's bullshit.
That's just creative types being creative types.
Well, fuck him.
That's their baby.
That's fucking stupid.
It's fucking stupid, but whatever.
Like, Smash is great, but like, it could have been so much better.
Can't get too salty about the creator of something that you love so much.
I can though.
Yeah, but you shouldn't.
Force Awakens, fun. Played it way too safe. Should have been way better. I'm angry about it.
At least George Lucas wasn't as involved.
Here's the thing. I'm not. I know that's like the logic is I should just be happy that it was a bearable Star Wars movie. No. I saw so much potential. Smash Bros. Wii U should have been so much better. And it's still phenomenal. It almost beat out Brawl or Melee on my list. It should have been better.
Force Awakens is probably the best Star Wars movie because all the ones are kind of bad.
It depends. I don't disagree as far as filmmaking goes. I don't disagree. But there were the expectations were so much loftier. So much loftier.
That works.
Fuck me. I've been drinking.
So, that was my 9. God. Now we're on our final game.
Jesus Christ. Number 10.
Did you save your best for last? Because I sure didn't.
And neither did I. I had a tough time with... So the last 2 games I added to my list were my number 10 here and Assassin's Creed. And I struggled with the other ones. Even Ripto's Rage. And I was just like, man, there's so many other games I feel like I should put on there, but didn't want to be disingenuous.
I had to twist your arm for you to get the final 3.
Yeah. This podcast would have happened much sooner. Although, based on the way this is going, maybe we should have waited a little bit longer still. No, my last game, Rocket League. And we are currently at 2 hours and 2.5 hours. That's what I want to hit. We're getting there.
Oh, yeah.
Rocket League. Probably the best experience I've had with a new game in probably a decade. Playing that with you for the first time. Just laughing uncontrollably.
Dude, the game's beautiful.
Fucking laughing my ass up. It was so fucked up. It was so insane. It's like, dude, you're a car. You're playing fucking soccer. Do crazy things. Explode. Blow people up.
Took everything that you loved about Mario Kart and made it even more competitive.
Just insane. And that was before I even play it, obviously. We're just playing that for the first time against some people online, unranked matches. I just remember sitting in your basement laughing. You remember that?
Yeah, just headbutting cars.
Just
headbutting cars, headbutting the ball.
And it was so satisfying as we like started to figure out the game and get better. And it's like, okay, like teamwork, and this is how we're going to do it. Well, now I only play competitively. Like Andrew and Schmitty, like my brother and his buddy are like fucking retarded good. They're like, I've put 300 hours into the game, 300 hours plus, and I should be way better than I am. But it's like, I want to go on and have fun 2 or 3 hours playing that. I can just play it and not think about it.
Play for half hour, 45 minutes, wait till you get salty.
Well, I usually will binge it. Like, I haven't played it in a couple weeks now just because I've been home every weekend, so I haven't played it at all.
Well, guess what we're playing tonight?
My man. So, yeah, I mean, that game, excuse me, from a competitive standpoint, I'll play ranked matches, and it's so... That's kind of the reason that I've stuck, even though a lot of single player campaigns, I just haven't played a lot. Like The Witcher, I haven't beaten The Witcher yet. The games I've kept up with are the competitive ones. Destiny, play a lot of Destiny, and which may have made my top games. I've had a lot of fun with that game over the last 2 years. Really unique experience for me. In Rocket League, the 2 games I keep going back to because it's like I don't need to like immerse myself. I can just hop in and fucking play.
Right.
But Rocket League, just that first time playing it, and then that summer going home and showing my brother that game for the first time, and us just sitting there fucking laughing our asses off. Like, it's so wacky and unconventional. Like, you're a car, you're a race car, fucking monster truck.
You're flying.
Yeah, like it's what the fuck, man? It's crazy. And even now, I go back and play that. You get a group of people together, whether you're playing 3-on-3 ranked, or you get a group of fucking 4 or 6 people in, and you do, local matches.
You can do like 2-on-2, doing 4-on-4 CPU. Well, yeah. Like, dude, there's so many fucking. That's one of those games that I wish came around more often. But it was one of those little games, small development team indie game. That's just fun couch co-op. Like, I love that. I love Castle Crashers. Like, those are the two. Like, those are what games are, man.
Guess what we're playing tonight? Fucking Castle Crashers. Oh my god. Oh my god. So, I mean, there's not much to say about Rocket League. It was like the funnest new experience I've had. Where I was like, just out of nowhere. Like, I was like, okay, this game. You're like, no, trust me. This fucking game is awesome. Trust me.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck ever. No, dude. Tears laughing. Just so fucking crazy. So, yeah, that's my number 10. That's my list. 2.5 hours later.
How about, after I do mine, we'll do a quick little name them all.
Okay.
So, your 10 was Rocket League. On the opposite end of the spectrum, for me,
oh boy,
my number 10 is Dark Souls 3.
Okay, all right. I knew we were getting a fucking Dark Souls game. I'd forgotten somehow.
So Dark Souls.
Here we go. Let's settle in, folks.
Obviously, this game is renowned, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's such a hard game." I'm like, that's the only thing I had heard of it since it came out. Like, the first game came out like 5 years ago, and then I never, that was before I was back into the 360.
Right.
And then by the time I got my 360, I was only interested in playing the Halo games and like some of the XBLA stuff.
Right.
And that was it. That was shallow. Didn't want to get much deeper than that. And then I was living with some guys, and they're hot on this brand new game called Bloodborne.
Oh my god!
I play on the PS4.
He's born of the blood.
Born of the Blood, and this gothic horror, dark game.
Very crappy, very spoopy.
Very, very crep.
I can't.
So I would like...
Too much for me.
It was one of those games, though, like you're talking about John watching you play Skyrim. But this is a game that I could easily just post up and just watch them play. Because it was just like really cool aesthetic.
Yeah.
It was a very watchable game.
Right.
And every now and then, like, I'd be hanging out and they'd be like, oh, you want to like try playing or something? I'm like, I don't know. I won't play.
Fuck that.
And like, I never played it. Never played it. But then, like, started hearing, oh, Dark Souls 3 is coming out soon. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to get in on that. And I just like built my computer recently. I hadn't really like, played anything too taxing on it yet.
Right.
So I was like,
this is your first rig.
Right? Yeah, I mean, it was after I got a new graphics card in it though. So I was like, I want to see if I can do it.
Whoa, dude, this is the Console Crusade?
Sorry. PC Master Race.
You're triggering a lot of are non-existent.
I mean, I played this on the PS4. But, so the day it came out, I bought it.
Right.
It was like one of those, weird things that I bought on the day it came out. And I remember playing it and immediately getting why people think, oh, this game's really hard. Because it is very punishing. Like, it teaches you through, killing you. You die and you lose shit and you lose progression, and it's like, it punishes you. So I remember playing and getting the mechanics down. Like, oh, this is kind of weird. You have your attacks on the triggers. But it started to mesh and started to make sense and and the mechanics for that game is what draws me to it, because I'm real big into the way a game handles. Right. Like, mechanics are huge for me. That's the reason I play games. If I wanted to get a story, I'd watch a movie. Fuck it. But
this is where we differ.
So I'm rolling around, I'm blocking, I'm dodging, I'm parrying, I'm getting my strong attacks, doing my criticals, doing those backstabs, and I'm getting the hang of it. And I come up to the first boss, the little tutorial boss. And I'm like, oh, it's the first boss. It should be pretty easy. Right. No, this dude kicks my ass. He throws me off a cliff. I'm dead. You died. You died. You died.
Over and over.
Over and over. I probably fight this guy 20 times.
Some Doctor Strange fucking time loop right there.
But then, eventually, half an hour later, this is after, going upstairs, getting a glass of water.
You need a break. You need a breather.
Come back down.
You're exhausted.
Finally beat this motherfucker. Udix Gundyr. Yeah, the tutorial boss.
What's his name?
Udix Gundyr. IUDEX. GUNDYR. Yeah, you type that shit out.
Udix Gundyr.
Udix. With an X. You're struggling over there.
I really am. How do you spell it?
IUDEX space. GUN.
There he is.
Yeah.
Google correct. He didn't fucking do shit for me.
Yeah, look at that guy. He's very...
He's a big night man.
Big statue night man.
Fucking He
does these crazy kicks. He kills you with that halberd. Then he grows this giant, creepy poop snake out of his back, and he just swipes you down. But I swear to God, I finally beat him, and I open the door behind him, and I see this beautiful scene, and I see Firelink in the distance, and I'm like, okay, now, I get it. I'm in. And since then, I've put in probably 200 hours in that game.
Jesus Christ.
Playing it, beating it, New Game Plus 2, starting it again because the DLC just came out, so I gotta beat it again so I can get to the DLC level.
Where do you have time to fucking play these games?
Oh,
200 hours.
I find time. I mean, it's been out since April.
Okay. It's November.
It's been out for 6 months.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, I dumped in a lot of hours in that game. And that game inspired me to buy Dark Souls 1 and 2 because they're always cheap and on sale.
Which you've been full on Asperger's with.
Yeah, I've been trying to get you to play Dark Souls because I want you to love the thing that I love.
Maybe I should start off with DS3. Maybe I should just jump in.
Maybe. It feels a little bit quicker. It's a little bit
I didn't hate Bloodborne. I didn't there's a lot of things I didn't like about it. The combat was simple for me. And
it's a little bit quicker than Bloodborne. You got shields, you got a lot more options as far as weapons go. Because weapons, I played maybe 10 hours of Bloodborne and you don't get dick for weapons. Not until later, yeah.
Yeah, playing that game with co-op and following people around and knowing where to go and just hey, let's get to where we need to go and fight this boss.
Yeah, we'll have to do that in Dark Souls 3 because I understand the online system a little better on that.
Okay.
We set up a password and just be us.
That's what we're playing tonight.
Ooh.
My God.
Oh my God. So that is my 10.
So recap for me.
Okay, so my top 10: Donkey Kong Country 2, Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon Silver, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, Metroid Fusion, Guitar Hero 2, Halo 2, WarioWare Touched, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and Dark Souls 3.
I feel like that's a solid list.
I feel like it is too.
There are going to be some hardcore geeks out there who are where's Final Fantasy? Where are your RPGs?
Dude, I got fucking Thousand Year Door and Pokemon on there. That's 2 RPGs. I could have put a million other RPGs. Could have put Earthbound. Could have put fucking Golden Sun.
L2 game, bro.
I could have put a bunch of stuff on there. But you know what? I had to pick 10.
The most meaningful.
It's tough.
So,
you're 10.
Wind Waker. Wind Waker HD is actually what I put on my list specifically. So I played the OG one a lot.
The best version.
The HD is the definitive version.
Just that last fetch quest
was killer on the
the one.
On the OG.
Yeah.
Pokemon Crystal. Mm-hmm. And I also put in parentheses here, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I love the remix. Bought those on day one.
Yeah, the new mechanics make those games a lot more enjoyable.
2009 or was that early 10?
That was 2010.
Early 10, yeah. I was still a senior in high school. I remember going out.
No, that was late 10. That was October, November release.
No, it wasn't. I was still in high school when it came out. I'm like 90% sure I was still in high school.
What did you say?
Anyway, Skyrim,
right.
Fire Emblem Awakening, Mario Kart Double Dash, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Spyro Rico's Rage, my man, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, and Rocket League.
Rocket.
So that's our top 10 games.
I think we got a pretty good variety on there. We kind of touched upon a lot of stuff. We got shooters, we got role-playing games, we got platformers, we got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it represents us well as gamers and our tastes, and hopefully as we go forward with...
We like a lot of things.
Or do we? So, I mean...
Well, you don't like anything.
I really don't. I don't enjoy many things. So what are we at? We're at 240. God damn, man. We'll trim off the beginning there. We'll be right at 230. We're fine. We're fine.
We'll record the same podcast tomorrow, and this will be our extended edition, director's cut.
Right. We'll
do commentary over each.
We're going to do this again.
No, here I stuttered because I was thinking about a funny story.
Here I stuttered because I had a bunch of beer and kept burping out pizza.
Here I stuttered because my tongue is too big for my mouth.
Yeah, I was having a stroke there. So, like I said, we got Everyday GBA. I don't know. Is that what we're going to call it?
I don't know.
Really coming?
Keep it posted.
We may or may not do that tomorrow. I still have to go through and play a couple of those launch games.
Tomorrow, as we
write some things.
Break the continuity of when we release these.
That's true. The day after we're filming this one. So we'll see. But now that we are out there, we will be out there. We'll be doing breaking gaming news. We've kept up with gaming news over the last 3 months. We do a pod every damn time.
Which is unprecedented, yeah.
But we don't actually record it half the time. We just talk. We Skype and talk about it. And so when the next Switch details we get, the next whatever, we'll do gaming news. We'll get this series going. I'm sure we're going to brainstorm other series. We might do, I'm really curious to go through and play some of my old Super Nintendo games and maybe not, I don't want to review them, but let's play through them together.
Get some impressions. That's fair.
Bullshit through these games.
Yeah.
Give me an excuse to actually sit down and force myself to beat some of the games that I've bought and haven't beaten yet.
Give it a recommend or a buyer beware kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't played Chrono Trigger by now, you don't want to, right?
Well, if you haven't played Chrono Trigger by now, you should get a DS and play that one.
That's true. Definitive version. Cutscenes, no load times. So, I keep playing footsie with you, my bad. So that's it. That's the Console Crusade episode 1. Hopefully, y'all got to know us a little bit better.
What's our names again? I am Nick.
I am not Nick.
It's EJ.
I'm EJ.
Probably didn't say our names enough during that.
Sir Nicholas over here. Who cares, man? No one's going to watch this. Andrew's going to listen to 10 minutes of this.
And be like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, right.
Wait, your brother or? I don't know.
Dre, yeah. No, it was a fun experience. We're not doing this. Not necessarily to let the whole fucking world, we want to have a conversation about video games. We want to reminisce. We want to stew in our nostalgia.
And our own filth.
And, well, that's, everyday occurrence for me.
Probably not even doing the video stuff very frequently.
I mean, if we can get our webcams dialed in, because he lives in Portland, I live in Eugene, so this is a rare occurrence.
I feel like a 3-hour difference makes it a little bit difficult to get in the same room.
It's really, actually, now that I say that, not that difficult. I've been home every fucking weekend for 2 months. Yeah, this is the first weekend I've been home, and you're here.
That's not the smartest idea, though. And how often are you going to be able to get this equipment? And
I can get this every weekend. It's not a big deal. We'll see what happens. We're going to see how this goes.
Play it by ear.
We're going to see what happens. But Everyday GBA comes soon.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. So thanks for watching, y'all. No one's watching us for 2.5 hours.
No.
Nobody.
No.
You and I are the only ones who watch us for 2.5 hours.
Now, if maybe in a year, if we get our dedicated following of 12 stupid people that we somehow Shanghai into wanted to keep track of what we think.
Good reference.
Then they might go back and be like, "Yo, this is the first time."
That's true. Then
Jiggle and the Fuzz put something up.
Jiggle and the Fuzz, your boy E-Jiggle coming at you with another video. No, at least for me, it'd be cool to get some sort of. I want to engage with other geeks, not necessarily garner a following. I don't care necessarily. I just want to engage with other geeks.
Yeah, I don't really care. I don't think anyone should give a shit about my opinion on anything.
Well, that's the thing. So I don't give a shit about your opinion. I still love to, talk about it because that means I get to talk about my opinion.
Oh, great. I appreciate your honesty, bitch.
Bitch. Hey, mother bitch. Whoa. Opinions, bitch. Jesse.
That could be your solo show.
Opinions, bitch.
Opinions, comma, bitch.
Yeah, that's good. It suits me.
Or let me smack this microphone as much as I
I
can.
know, I keep fucking doing that.
Fucking Chris Brown over here.
Whatever, man. We keep bumping this table. Who fucking cares?
I haven't bumped the table once.
You've been shaking it with your little jalopy
My
hand.
masturbating.
Jesus Christ.
It's in the shot.
So anyway, what I was about to say was there's a really great YouTube community that I want to be a part of. You know, I mean, obviously I've been following a lot of these
I
people.
guess I can put
This
up with those
fucker.
guys. I mean,
This
I'm
fucker.
already YouTube famous, if you remember.
Oh my God, this guy was featured in a video called Trolling Famous YouTubers at PRGE 2016. These guys are doing a bit where they asked every bearded guy if they were Gerard the Completionist. And he made it on the video, totally unbeknownst to me, especially
And to
you,
me.
especially to you. It popped up on my YouTube feed, and I'm like, fucking Nick, isn't
I just remember seeing that picture that you screenshotted and sent to me.
I'm like peeking
You're
outside.
peeking out, looking at your
That's-
fucking your strategy guides.
That's pretty funny. But I was like, oh my God, I can't believe Nick's in this video I'm watching. I was like, no way. Are you Gerard? So that was great. But that community is that I want to engage with these people, and you know, like I do now as a follower of some of these people. You get on, you comment, you bullshit. You want, you know, it's a nice little community for the most part.
Well, I have to take your word for it because, as you know, I'm not very. I'm not in the know. I'm not dialed in when it comes to the YouTube.
You're a
stuff.
podcast man.
I like listening,
I mean, so am I. But my preference would be to watch all the podcasts.
and
I
even
follow.
like the podcasts that I listen to and that I listen to like weekly. Follow like I don't engage them on like
fair enough.
I don't leave comments or I don't like, comment, or subscribe.
I don't like them. Yeah, no,
That's not too much. That's too much commitment for me.
You know, that's what I want to get to though. I want to be able to engage with fellow fucking geeks, fellow nerds.
Valid. I'm down with that.
Who want to just, you know,
Like open up that discussion.
yeah. Down here in Eugene, I don't get enough.
Human contact.
Well, yeah, but especially of the geek variety because I feel like all the geeks I know here are like fucking like high school kids. I'm not gonna go hang out with high school kids. You know what I mean?
You know that is like a very big part of the YouTubes though.
I mean,
those younger people.
I mean, yeah, but
Like we're kind of like in the upper ages for that.
I wouldn't say that. Like I follow like the Game Chasers. Those guys are like fucking mid 30s.
Okay, but
and all their followers are a bunch of fucking old geeks like us.
So you do stuff for them, and that's like NES stuff, and that's like old people stuff. I don't really plan on talking about NES stuff because I have no like association with that really.
Fair
I
enough.
hardly have association with Super Nintendo. That console came out a week after I was born. Like, you know, I played it, but I wasn't part of it, you know?
Fair enough.
Even 64 was like a little bit early for me. Like it wasn't until GameCube that I was actually like plugged in. I was reading Game Informer and that was like culturally relevant to me.
I guess we're just gonna fucking wing it. We're gonna see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna put this out in the world.
I'm with it.
We'll see what happens. So, if you're still here,
Sorry.
I was gonna say, you poor bastards. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Like, comment, subscribe.
No, none of that shit. None of that crap.
Don't do any of that.
No, don't do that. Just come back
Go
next
to our
time.
Patreon.
Leave us. Oh, fuck.
Oh, we got a
you.
Kickstarter going.
Oh my God.
Give us your money.
I hate that so much.
Oh, yeah.
We need that ad revenue.
No,
fuck
we're going to
that.
spend our own hard-earned cash on this fucking bullshit.
Leave a comment, man. That's all we ask. Leave a comment. Chat with me. Let's talk
Good chat.
video
We'll
games.
set up we'll have an email set up. Probably pimp that out eventually.
Email? Come on, man. What year is it?
Dude, people email.
Oh,
We
Twitter.
do listener mail.
Oh,
Dude,
Twitter.
I love, dude. Of all the podcasts I listen to, listener mail is the most engaging and the most interesting to listen to.
That's true. We'll see.
So,
If you're watching this, you tell us what the fuck you want.
if you're on Twitter,
We'll do it. 'Cause we want to engage with you. We want to talk about some video games. Give us your top 10 games. You, the one person watching, give it to us. I want to
Andrew.
know.
You
I wanna
motherfucker.
know. I want to know.
Trevor, maybe.
Yeah. All right. This has been real.
And
Cheers to empty beer here.
good night.
We out of here. Peace. Oh my God.
Yeah, can we like fucking open a window?
Please.